listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Summer League Raceway, the third weekend in the 2018 Tuto Money Super 1 British Karting Championships at the beautiful Larkhall circuit here in Scotland, the West of Scotland Karting Club. It's been a great weekend thus far, with 13 races yesterday, 17 races today, and of course we will find out who is going to have the honour of being the king of the Saltire. Jake Sanson here up in the commentary box, overlooking the start-finish straight. It is an absolutely fantastic day at the office, perhaps not as sunny and as warm as yesterday was, although I am told that it will come back a little bit later on today, and by the time we get the podiums underway you can fry bacon and eggs on that circuit. It's going to be so hot. It's going to be a really, really good day at the office, and we'll get some absolutely fantastic racing from the next 17 races. We'll start where we picked off yesterday with the heats. We only have 2 heats remaining here this weekend, and it's for the Junior X30 and Senior X30 classes, so we'll do the Junior X30s first. And it's the man from Dalry on pole position for this one, Lewis Gilbert on the number 29. He's going to be very, very strong indeed as he uses local knowledge to his advantage. Nelson King alongside him on that front row of the grid, with Alessandro Sananetti, the Italian, and Lewis Thompson for the Jade Racing team on the second row of the grid. The Welshman Teddy Pritchard-Williams in number 55 is there on the fifth row of the grid, with the number 42, Caden McQueen. He should be a really strong one on the Madcroft chassis, and he'll be a very strong one to watch, the man from Milton Keynes. Then we've got the likes of Josh Rattigan and Clayton Ravenscroft, 2 men who we cannot stop singing praises about in the early stages of the season. They've been great in Britain and in Europe so far this year. And then we have Axel Laflamme and Reggie Dewey, who's had a very difficult weekend at the office so far, but having moved to the Cato Motorsport team, he's enjoying his racing a lot more. But this is the day when he really could do with a decent result. And for 10th on the grid, he's got plenty of opportunities to go for it. Tyler Reid and Luke Whitehead are together on the 6th row of the starting grid, with Matthew Hudson and Tom Edgar for the Coles Racing and Fusion Motorsport teams respectively. Tom Edgar, a narrow escape yesterday from that very heroic incident at the start of the race, or certainly the midpoint of the race, when we saw Oliver Behrman and Theo Edgerton go flying off the circuit. Both are okay, by the way. Behind Hudson and Edgar we have Casper Stevenson and the leading rookie Dougie Bolger, the Japanese driver from Fusion Motorsport. Louis Short and Sam Heading are next up. Then it's Dragon Pinson trying to make up progress as they leave the pits, and Alex Walker in the 12. Oliver Gray and Joseph Taylor are next up. Alex Lloyd and Rufus Hunt, and then Oliver Behrman and Dylan Cooper. And then we continue on the grid by looking at Shane White and Theo Edgerton, Alex Moody for Cato Motorsport, and Sam Hawthorne for M Sport Karting. And then at the back we have Max Meir and Alex Lay. It's going to be an interesting one. We are live at the circuit here at the Super 1 Series at Larkhall, but we are also live around the world via Downforce UK. If you can listen in via Spreaker at the circuit, you can do. All you do is download the app and get Spreaker on your phone, and then search for Super 1 Series, and you can have it in your awnings wherever you are around the circuit. We've got a lot of people doing so around the world already who know of the Downforce UK coverage. We are going for 2 formation laps around the circuit today because of the overnight rain, making the circuit particularly damp. So the driver's now getting 2 exploratory laps of the circuit rather than 1. And that is a very sensible decision, because obviously the track has changed an awful lot in 24 hours. It's colder, it's cooler, and the track is definitely a lot more slippery than it was yesterday. So a very sensible decision to let the drivers get 2 exploratory laps of the circuit. But Lewis Gilbert, the Dalry wonder, is going to be there on the top of the grid. Nelson King alongside him, Alessandro Sananetti and Lewis Thompson, and Teddy Pritchard-Williams and Caden McQueen, Josh Rattigan and Clayton Ravenscroft, Axel Laflamme and Reggie Dewey, Tyler Reid and Luke Whitehead, Matthew Hudson and Tom Edgar. Then it's Stevenson, Bolger, Short, Heading, Pinson, Walker, Gray, Tyler, Lloyd, Hunt, Behrman, Cooper, White, Edgerton, Moody, Hawthorne, Meir and Lay. They all form up in a nice, neat formation on the far side of the circuit, and I think we're going to be absolutely fine for the start. They're neatly tidy. So it's the Dominator from Dalry. Can he get air on the first part of the grid? Let's find out. And it's a clean start. And we're racing straight away here at Larkhall. Sananetti coming through in a 2nd position. And it looks to me as though Thompson trying to break through into 3rd position as well. Nelson King hanging on to it as much as he possibly can. But here he is, the man in front, Lewis Gilbert, the 29 for KR Sports, still out in front. Home knowledge giving him plenty to do at the front of the field as the racers stream up the straight, up towards turn 4, the square right. Up and over the curbs, Gilbert leading the way nicely, Serenetti, Thompson, King, and there's a little bit of an off further back. That looks like Reggie Dewey having a bit of a moment and getting himself back into position, tucked up behind Clayton Ravenscroft. Good save, and Reggie Dewey going with Ravenscroft at the moment. That's not a bad idea. He wants to sit behind him and watch him go through the field and pick up places as he goes, really. Here is Gilbert leading, Serenetti, Thompson, King, and then it is the 55 in next. That is Teddy Pritchard-Williams as they come across the line. Then it is Radican from McQueen, Reed, Ravenscroft, Dewey, Hudson, White, Edgar, Stevenson and Bulger. Axel Laflamme's had a terrible start. He's down to 16th position now, while Dragon Pinson's moving up to 17th. Then it's Heading, Gray, Walker, Lloyd, Short, Taylor, Cooper, Behrman and Rufus Hunt. And as the drivers continue on their way round this part of the circuit, we're into turn 4. Gilbert still holding the advantage for the moment. Serenetti's got Thompson and King right with him. Thompson's going to try and make the move on Serenetti. Doesn't get the opportunity to come through. And we've got it off at the back end of the circuit. Somebody's gone off there. That looks like Axel Laflamme. I think that is Laflamme who's gone off on the far side. So Laflamme will now have to join right at the back of the field. That is a real shame for Axel Laflamme, the 47. I think that is who's gone far wide there. So he's now slotted in behind the 57 of Sam Heading. Not a great lap then from Laflamme. And he'll be very disappointed with his lot at the moment as he's tumbled 9 places down the field. But it's Gilbert from Serenetti, Thompson, King, Pritchard-Williams, Radican, McQueen, Reed, Ravenscroft, Dewey, Whitehead and Edgar. Fastest lap of the race so far, Clayton Ravenscroft on a 46.41. Very quick indeed in the middle sector as they come up through 4 once again. Gilbert, Serenetti, Thompson and King. 5th position, that's still going to be the 55 of Teddy Pritchard-Williams. Well, it was. Now it's the 27 of Radican. Radican's come through. So Radican doing a great job there up into P5. Caden McQueen still in there battling away with Ravenscroft, Tyler Reed and Reggie Dewey. Then it is the 7 of Luke Whitehead. So great racing in the early stages as Serenetti is trying not to let Gilbert get away, but Gilbert is doing just that. He is disappearing into the distance. The field continuing on. Looks like Reggie Dewey getting very aggressive on the back of Tyler Reed. Looks like he could get a nice move on the way through. So the drivers working their magic as they come through the field. But this is going to be a really interesting battle. We've got a lot of drivers moving up through the field and a few drivers dropping positions. But there is a very mixed bag as they come through. Gilbert still pulling away. Serenetti with Thompson and Nelson King not far away as they continue to charge forward. Ratican's going with them. Ratican could be an interesting one in this battle. He's there in P5 and he's looking for an opportunity to break into the top 3. If he keeps catching these 3 in front, he may get a chance to do just that. Meanwhile, Teddy Pritchard-Williams has got pressure from Caden McQueen and Clayton Ravenscroft with Tyler Reed, Reggie Dewey, Luke Whitehead in there as well. The 52 of Tom Edgar for Fusion Motorsport. Very close indeed with those guys. Then it is the 41 in behind of Matthew Hudson from Stevenson, Pinson, Bulger. Then it is Sam Heading, I believe, from Laflamme, Gray, Lloyd, Walker, Taylor, Behrman, Cooper, Hunt and Shane White. Really exciting battle here in the final heat before we get to the finals a little bit later on in the afternoon. But things are really exciting for Lewis Gilbert out in front. He's just controlling the pace of the race. Serenetti is proving to be a bit of a trilly train at the moment as he holds these 4 at bay. That is a very feisty and determined looking Nelson King trying to get himself back into a decent spot. But he's really struggling at the moment as Reggie Dewey closes up on Tyler Reed and goes for a last-minute lunge. Beautiful move there from Reggie Dewey. And run out of the road there, Tyler Reed. And the 7 goes through as well. Looks like the 52 is going to make up ground as well. Tom Edgar coming through. And there's a warning flag for Caden McQueen, the 42. Not sure what that's for. But out of the race on the far side, that I'm afraid to say is the 16, I think that is, that's gone off the circuit there. I think that could be Shane White, who has suddenly fallen off the board. Yes, Shane White sadly is out for the Litchfield Motorsport team. That is a real shame from his point of view. Was looking really good up to that point, but unfortunately it is not to be. But out in front, it is Lewis Gilbert, Alessandro Serenetti in 2nd place. 3rd is the 79 of Thompson. Then we've got Nelson King and then Josh Radican. Caden McQueen's got Clayton Ravenscroft to deal with. Next is Reggie Dewey doing a much better job this time. And McQueen is having to defend from Ravenscroft. That could bring Dewey and Whitehead into the game. So Dewey up 2 places, Whitehead up 3, Edgar's up 4 places, Dragon Pinson's going well as well, he's up 5 places to 14th, so some great movers through the field. Alex Lloyd doing well as well, up 4 places, and Oliver Behrman's come up 3, so lots of good movers in this race as they continue to charge forward with just under 3 minutes plus 1 lap left. Now, the boys are starting to chip away at Gilbert's advantage. Serenetti Thompson, King and Ratican working together. Ratican trying a slightly different line through the hairpin there to give himself a little bit more of a build-up of speed to close up on these three in the final hairpin, and that will set him on a charge. Ravenscroft has made his way into P6 now, past McQueen. Looks like Reggie Dewey is going to be next to deal with the man in 7th position. Then it's going to be Whitehead, Edgar, and it looks like a bold move there from Matthew Hudson to try and get the past Tyler Reid in the Thule Motorsport kart, but he's not going to get there. Dragon Pinson for Dartford Karting is in 13th from Stevenson, Pritchard Williams, Dougie Bolger, Axel Laflamme, Sam Heading, Alex Lloyd and Oliver Gray in the top 20. So still Gilbert, but we're nowhere near as much as he was before. Serenetti, Thompson and King still closing away. They're running out of time to do anything about Lewis Gilbert, but using plenty of curb, Gilbert's going to be vulnerable. So they're going to need to be very careful about how they work their magic as the 87 gets a little bit too physical there. Oliver Behrman trying to make the move on the inside of Alex Walker, I think that is, who's made the move through and was not quite able to do anything about him on the undercut. Reggie Dewey getting on with this now, charging after the 7th place man, Caden McQueen. Ravenscroft again, the new fastest lap, a 45.50 for him, doing a great job at this point of proceedings. So as they come through, we're going to get a much tighter battle in the top 10. But it's still Lewis Gilbert, the man from Dalry, for KR Sport on the Cosmic Chassis, doing an absolutely terrific job, leading the way here. Serenetti, Lewis Thompson, Nelson King, and Josh Ratican, very hot in pursuit. Clayton Ravenscroft in 6th position, just trying to gain some ground, as Reggie Dewey looks threatening behind Caden McQueen as well. The Cato Motorsport driver really starting to jog on a pace now, and he is chipping away at the advantage of Caden McQueen. Reggie Dewey really strong under braking in the hairpin. 1 minute to go, plus a lap. So for my money, that's 3 laps to go. And it's Gilbert from Serenetti, Thompson, King, Ratican, Ravenscroft, McQueen, Dewey, Whitehead, Edgar, Reid and Hudson. Really good racing here. Dragon Pinson up 5 places. Lloyd likewise. Oliver Behrman up 4. Dylan Cooper's making a bit of a charge forward, up 2 places as well. Some great racing all the way down to the back of the field. Lewis Gilbert still there in the lead of the race, just controlling his rhythm at the moment, not putting himself under undue pressure, and looking very good at the moment. Serenetti in 2nd, 3rd Lewis Thompson, 4th Nelson King, 5th Josh Ratican. A little way back is Clayton Ravenscroft, but he's dropped the carts behind. He's in no man's land in 6th position. Then we've got Caden McQueen having to work very hard to keep both Reggie Dewey and Luke Whitehead at bay. Some great battles, some great racing and some really exciting tussles coming through from this field at the moment. As they come through once again, Lewis Gilbert still keeping a lead of about 0.6 of a second, although his 3rd sector was the fastest of all. So Gilbert still has speed in reserve. As we're just watching a few drivers coming through towards the rear end, that's Alex Lee battling away with Alex Moody of the Cato Motorsport team. Look at how close it is now, though. Gilbert has been given a little bit of a hurry up from the 4 boys behind, particularly Lewis Thompson assisting Alessandro Serenetti to move closer to him. And we are out of time, so this is going to be the last lap they come on to now in the final hairpin. Is there going to be a charge for the victory? It's going to be a tough one to beat Lewis Gilbert, who knows this place like the back of his hand. So here we go. Clayton Ravenscroft in P6. Then it's McQueen. Reggie Dewey working hard there. And up to 9th has come Tom Edgar on the inside of Luke Whitehead. Reid, Hudson, Pritchard Williams, Laflamme, Pinson, Lloyd, Stevenson, Bolger and Heading, with Oliver Gray rounding out the top 20, just a whisker in front of Oliver Behrman. Turn 4, last time of asking. Gilbert still leading, but Serenetti's quite close. Is he going to make a charge for the victory? He's running out of time to do so. Thompson still there in 3rd, King in 4th, Ratican 5th from Ravenscroft, and McQueen is in defence mode, ultimately from Reggie Dewey. But Serenetti, I don't think he's going to be close enough to try anything on Lewis Gilbert. If he does it, he's going to have to come from an awfully long way back. 2nd position will do. Lewis Gilbert picks up the victory. Fantastic work from him. Serenetti 2nd. 3rd is Thompson from King and Ratican. Ravenscroft is 6th. And then in 7th, it is Reggie Dewey, who's got Caden McQueen on the last lap. Terrific work from Reggie Dewey. So Dewey in P7. Good work there, and he'll get the inside line for the first final. Really good stuff. Caden McQueen in 8th place. Then it's Tom Edgar, Luke Whitehead, Tyler Reid, Matthew Hudson, Teddy Pritchard Williams 13th from Axel Laflamme, Alex Lloyd and Dragon Pinson. Really good racing right to the death there. Some fantastic battles and some absolutely supreme kart control in the slippery conditions. Casper Stevenson 17th in front of Dougie Bolger. And then we've got Sam Heading and Oliver Gray, Oliver Behrman, Joseph Taylor, Alex Walker, Louis Short, Dylan Cooper and Rufus Hunt in P26. And then further back behind them, we have, of course, the drivers pushing on behind. An amazing run here in the Junior X30, 14th race of the weekend. We're almost at the halfway point of the races completed. Theo Edgerton recovers after yesterday's misdemeanors to 27th from Alex Lay, Alex Moody, Sam Hawthorne and Max Mear, with sadly just the one retirement from the race, and that was Shane White on lap 5. A real shame to see him retire from the race in the Litchfield Motorsport kart, and definitely not how he wanted to start his day's work. But nevertheless, we will see him back to his best, no doubt, in the next encounter, which is coming up for the Junior X30s at about 5 minutes past 12 later on today. So that'll be an interesting one. And we're going to get to see some really exciting racing. Colin Brown giving me a sneaky grin over on the pit wall. Colin, how dare you? I'm married. Anyway, we'll move on and continue on with the race action. Thank you for that one, Colin. So he's looking after the young Filipino racer, William Goh, who's getting on very well this weekend, considering it's his first time in the National Championships at Super 1. And his pace and his sector times have been going gusto. You'll hear from him a little bit later on in the Army Cadets. Great to see the newbies coming over. And we do have a real international flavour of the grid here this weekend, because there's lots of drivers from all over the place, including young Ian Aguilera, the Mexican, who's doing a great job for Fusion Motorsport here this weekend. Good to see him out and about. We'll have the Senior X30s up next, though, of course, and they'll be giving us plenty of entertainment.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Senior X30 yesterday was one of the most exciting battles in the paddock, and today should be absolutely no different, because we've got Lewis Malin and Oliver Hodgson on that front row of the grid from Levi King and Morgan Porter, Thomas Turner and Joe Turney on the third row from Sean Butcher and Brad Pennell, then Scott Jackson, and rounding out the top 10 is Derek Morgan, and then we have Owen Byatt, the leading privateer, alongside Alexander Huang for Mick Barrett Racing, Jensen Brown and Rashid Ghanem, the Lebanese racer for the M Sport karting team, Paul Stewart and Archie Tillett, teammate to Oliver Hodgson in the PFI kart, Saul Robinson and Rory Hudson, then Matt Armstrong and the other M Sport karting driver Brandon Matchell, Elliot Harvey and Angus Mulsdale way down the order. They need to make progress in this one. Ewan Wilson and Josh Thompson-White, then Anna Morris for the Jade Racing team, Sky Siddle for Mark Baines Motorsport, and Henry Laws for KR Sport. It'll be interesting to see how these guys cope in the very tricky conditions. I'm guessing we'll probably have 2 rolling laps for them as well, as we had for the Junior X30s, just so that they can familiarise themselves with the greasy conditions. And it's definitely a smart move to go around twice, because the track is completely different to what it was 24 hours ago. Out of the pits they go, and it's time to go racing once again in Senior X30. So the drivers will battle away for position. A lot of the teams are out here on the pit wall studying the circuit over the next few races, because of course they need to figure out what the track is doing in time for their own races a little bit later on this morning. So we've got plenty of teams from plenty of classes who are studying the circuit very, very closely indeed to see what the track will do. But Lewis Malin leads them round from Oliver Hodgson, championship leader at this point, runner-up last year. And it'll be fascinating to see how this race unfolds. But there's plenty of great action to come from these guys who always deliver fantastic entertainment. But the man from Grantham, Oliver Hodgson, is alongside Lewis Malin, the number 32, all the way from Birmingham. They're in the news at the moment in the world of motorsport, of course, because it's very considerable at the moment that the Formula E Championship is considering heading back to Birmingham, in the way that we used to have the Birmingham Super Prix in the late 80s and early 90s. It was a fantastic event, and it ran around the streets of Birmingham in Formula 3000. They are considering taking the Formula E Championships back to the UK, and particularly to Birmingham. So you never know. Lewis Malin may work his magic up through the order and may even get to be on the support bill on the streets of his home city. So Lewis Malin, the Birmingham boy, out on the front row of the grid. Oliver Hodgson alongside him. And then we have that close battle behind of Levi King, Morgan Porter, Turner and Turney, Butcher and Pennell, Jackson, Morgan, Byatt, Huang, Brown, Ghanem, Stewart, Tillett, Robinson and Hudson. The field will form up. It's getting very slippy out there. I'm not sure if there's any actual rain in the air. Well, no, it's in the air. It's not actually falling on the circuit at the moment. but I think it should clear up before we go racing. But well done to Lewis Malin and Oliver Hodgson, who are keeping things nice and neat and tidy so that Sky Siddle and Henry Laws can get themselves into action. That's not Henry Laws, actually. I'm not sure what's happened to Henry, but away we go. And we are racing. It's a cracking start from the front, and there's a little bit of jostling for position in the mid-pack through those first couple of corners. Has there been a bit of an incident somewhere? I think it's just wheel banging, but it doesn't look like anybody is out of the race just yet as they head to the hairpin for the first time. But we're starting to get a few particular spots of rain, I think, down here on the start straight. Everybody on slick tyres, of course. They can't really start the race on anything else. It's not wet enough for it, but it's now just a case of who can handle these slippery conditions best. Round the outside, Joe Turney trying to make up ground on the Australian Sean Butcher, who's had an absolute flyer off the grid, and Butcher is now in P6. Very good start to the race from him. Oliver Hodgson still making ground on Lewis Malin. Good defensive driving from Levi King in third position to hang on to the pace in front of Morgan Porter and Thomas Turner. But Butcher's made a cracking start, the Australian. And as the fields sweep through, it's all very easy going at the moment. No sign of Henry Laws. I have a feeling that he failed to start the race, which is a real shame from his point of view. He's had a miserable weekend, and I think they may have decided to pack up and go home early. Never mind. Here is the right-hander, turn 4, as the drivers come back into view, and we have this battle between Lewis Malin and Oliver Hodgson heating up, and it's a very tight move from Morgan Porter to try and come past Levi King. He's not going to make the move stick there, and we've got somebody off on the far side of the circuit. That looks to me like the 24 of Alexander Huang, and, well, he's cut the circuit there from my point of view. He's gone straight over. Missed a couple of corners, and Alexander Huang, the 24, has put himself into position. So Alexander Huang, he's slowed down to a certain degree, but he's slotted himself into 11th position. Now, I think he was actually further down than that when he had that moment. Meanwhile, the two at the back, Sky Siddle making the move on the inside of Anna Morris as they battle for position. And Sky Siddle and Anna Morris absolutely determined and resolute to fight with each other. And that's their race right to the back of the field. There is an amazing squabble for positions. And now we've got Oliver Hodgson leading the way. Hodgson has taken the lead from Lewis Malin. So Hodgson is in front. Malin in second. Up to third now comes Morgan Porter. Then it is the 3 of Thomas Turner. Is that Joe Turney in 5th position? It is. So Levi King's tumbled down to 6th place in front of Butcher. So something's happened on that last lap. But there's definitely a real shuffle for positions as Malin has gone down behind Oliver Hodgson and Levi King has dropped behind Porter, Turner and Turney, who made the move on Sean Butcher. So a really exciting battle there. And it looks as though there's been a bit of an incident between Sky Siddle and Anna Morris. They're now a long way away from each other. But with 5 minutes and 20 on the clock and a very slippery circuit by the look of it, looks as though we're going to get an interesting battle as Joe Turney tries to make the move on Thomas Turner. And they're sliding about. I think there is some patchy rain in places, but it's not really heavy enough to consider anything other than the slick tyres still. Anna Morris seems to be having some technical difficulties with her Birolart chassis at the moment. The number 2, Hodgson going well. Morgan Porter now up into 2nd position from Malin, Turner, Turney, King, Butcher, Jackson, Pennell, Byatt, Stewart, Wang, Brown, Hudson, Robinson, Armstrong and Archie Tillett. And there's a warning flag that's gone out to the 11. That's Paul Stewart. So Paul Stewart's had a bit of an incident somewhere by the look of it. And as a result of that, has been given a warning. Now, Anna Morris is not far away from being lapped here by Oliver Hodgson and Morgan Porter, who are battling away for the victory. Porter seems to be absolutely lightning in these conditions. He's really getting his magic together now and pushing Oliver Hodgson, the championship leader, for a genuine crack at the victory, as Anna Morris is going to have to move out of the way and let half the field through. Oh, and that's a real problem for Turner, as Joe Turney very nearly got him on the way through there. But Anna Morris keeping out of trouble and letting the field go by. Oh, and that's a big moment for Stewart. Stewart wasn't sure which way. Anna Morris was letting him go and very nearly ended up off the road. But Morgan Porter is the fastest man on the track right now, a 44.54, and doing a cracking job leading the race with gusto. Oh, and Sky Siddle's gone off. Sky Siddle spun off up at turn 4. So Sky Siddle has gone off and into the barriers backwards. That's a real shame. So she's out of the race. Meanwhile, Morgan Porter still hustling Oliver Hodgson, going the very long way round turn 5 in order to try and move aside. But this is a really interesting battle for positions now as the races continue on their way. But out in front, no major changes. Hodgson and Porter stretching out an advantage. Malin in third from Turner, Turney, King, Butcher, Jackson, Pennell, Byatt and Stewart. Rory Hudson's up to 12th now, made up 6 places off the start. Who's also on the move? Elliot Harvey's made up 4 places. Oh, there's Henry Laws. My apologies. He's in 20th position. He's made an absolutely cracking start, the 92. So I do apologise. I didn't spot Henry Laws, and that's because he's made up so many places. I wasn't expecting him to be that high. So great work from Laws. Siddle is out of the race and is the only retirement of the race so far. But out in front, Hodgson and Porter stretching away. From Malin, Turner, Turney, King, Butcher, Jackson, Pennell, Byatt, Stewart, Hudson, Huang, Brown, Robinson, Armstrong, Harvey, Tillett, Wilson, Henry Laws in 20th. Then it's Ganem, Mulsdale, Matchell, Thompson White, Derek Morgan and Anna Morris. So something has happened to Derek Morgan to drop him all the way down to 25th. He started in the top 10, of course, and the field's still stretching out a pace. But some really interesting battles here as we've got several drivers a little further back from where they should be. Josh Thompson-White has had a couple of issues there by the look of it and has fallen down the order. In fact, is now being caught by Derek Morgan in the 5. But there's a new leader. That is the man in front. It is now the 46 of Morgan Porter who leads the way from Hodgson. Malin in 3rd place from Turney. So Turney's got through into P4. Joe Turney's got to P4 and now he's making a bid to try and get on the inside of Lewis Malin. Leaves it very late, but he's into 3rd place. Great move from Joe Turney. Exactly as we've come to expect from him now. My goodness. Joe Turney comes from a long way back into turn 9 and gets the job done. Wow. Up to 3rd position with 1:45 plus 1 lap on the clock, and Senior X30 still providing us with great action. Morgan Porter, now your race leader from Oliver Hodgson, who's having to work very hard indeed to stay with him. Very tricky conditions on this part of the circuit. On the far end of the circuit, it looks as though we've got a few more spots of rain than here on the start-finish straight. But Joe Turney has worked his magic and got into 3rd position in front of Lewis Malin and Thomas Turner. Sean Butcher still there in P6 in front of Scott Jackson, the leading rookie, who's working his way through the field. So a good start to proceedings at the moment. But this is all a good run as far as Morgan Porter is concerned. Fastest of all in the final sector. Joe Turney fastest of all in the 2nd sector. But Morgan Porter fastest lap of the race at 44.29. And it looks to me as though he has got the legs on Oliver Hodgson for the moment at least. But as they come across the line this time by, there's going to be 2 laps to go. And still Morgan Porter having to control his pace. But it's getting very evenly spread in the top 5 at the moment as Malin's got a bit of distance between himself and Turner. Butcher's there in P5. So what has happened to Lewis Malin? Well, he's still there in 32. Where's Joe Turney? Where's Joe Turney? He's disappeared. He was in P3. So something has happened to Joe Turney. He has disappeared from the fray. I'm not entirely sure what's happened to him. Is he down and out of the hairpin? I can't see him anywhere. But Joe Turney is out of the race by the look of it. And it looks to me as though we've got somebody overshooting. That looks to me like Josh Thompson-White overshooting at the chicane at the S's section. But Joe Turney is down and out from the race by the look of it. Trying to see if I can see him anywhere around the circuit. I can't. So something has definitely happened to the man who had made his way all the way to 3rd position. Oh, Joe Turney has recovered. He's in 19th place. So I'm not entirely sure what happened, but whatever happened, it has totally and utterly compromised Joe Turney's race and potentially weekend as well, because he's going to have to work incredibly hard to fight back from there. As up the inside, that's a move from Saul Robinson to get past Rory Hudson for 11th position. Where's Joe Turney by comparison? Well, here he is, and he's definitely been off the road somewhere. He's got dirt all over his tyres as we're on the last lap now. And that's Henry Laws leading a very hard challenge behind of Angus Mulsdale, Rashid Ganem, and 1 or 2 others as well. But here comes the race leader. No problems at all for Morgan Porter. He has controlled the pace of this race ever since he got the lead of it. And now he will come through to a very convincing victory out of the final turn. And Morgan Porter marches to victory. Great run from him. A fantastic job for the whole team. They'll be delighted. Oliver Hodgson in 2nd place. 3rd is going to be Lewis Malin from Thomas Turner and Sean Butcher, with the leading rookie, Scott Jackson, just a whisker ahead of Owen Byatt, the leading privateer, from Paul Stewart, Brad Pennell and Levi King. Then it is Saul Robinson, Rory Hudson, and then Alexander Huang from Elliot Harvey, who did a grand job to move up to 14th place. Good solid points there from Harvey. Then we have the rest of the field coming through behind, but that was a bit dramatic, I have to say, for Joe Turney to drop it. 15th is Jensen Brown, 16th Matt Armstrong, then it's Archie Tillett, Ewan Wilson up 5 places, Joe Turney 19th, and Angus Moulsdale, who crosses the line ahead of Henry Laws. Then it's Rashid Ghanem, Brandon Matchell, Josh Thompson-White, Derek Morgan and Anna Morris, with just the one retirement from the race, and that sadly was Sky Siddle for the Mark Baines Motorsport team. A real shame for her. She was going reasonably well in that one, but now it is time for her to regroup, refocus, and concentrate on the finals, which will be coming up a little bit later on in the day. Just one more race before we get to the finals, and that, of course, is the TKM Extreme Repechage, which is going to be the last man in, basically, for the TKM Extreme finals a little bit later on. It's been great racing from them thus far. However, there are just 11 drivers who need to book their places in the TKM Extreme finals, and that's what we're going to observe this next time by. Who will make it? We'll find out in a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
So attention paddock, if we could have the X30 Junior, number 55, that is Teddy Pritchard-Williams, to the steward's office, please. That is the X30 Junior, number 55, Teddy Pritchard-Williams, to the steward's office, please. Thank you. And we will now have a short pause, unfortunately, because, of course, we have the TKM Extreme Repechage coming up, but there's still some work to do to move Sky Siddle's kart from up at turn 4. And hopefully that will only take about 3 or 4 minutes time or so. They're moving it fairly quickly, to be fair. So that will mean there will only be about 4 or 5 minutes or so at the very most behind schedule. And that is obviously going to give us a little bit more time to focus in on the drivers in the TKM Extreme Repechage, led by Owain Rosser, who will start on pole position for the Repechage. And alongside him on the starting grid, we're going to have a really exciting challenge from Jack Darton, who will be there in position. Then Nathan Wells and Matthew Horton will be on the second row of the Repechage grid from Isaac Marsh and Lewis Wadley. And then we have Amy Duke and David Brickley on the fourth row of the grid, with Alexander Lehman, Lewis Rushforth and Sam Johns in that field as well. 10 minutes for the Repechage, the last chance for the drivers to get themselves into the race itself. They're going to walk around the last couple of corners, Sky Siddle and her mechanic, as they bring her kart back into the pits. I don't think she'll be too disheartened by that, of course, because getting herself into the finals, well, she'll be in about the same position on the starting grid for the finals as she would have been originally in the heats. So it's not a major cause for concern as yet, but the TKM Extreme Repechage will be getting underway very shortly. Once she has been brought back into the pits, we may even only have a delay of about a minute and a half. So that would be very easy to make up, of course. But the drivers are getting themselves ready for the action. So we've already had the message for the number 55 from the Junior X30s, Teddy Pritchard-Williams, to make his way to the steward's office. I think he has done that. We'll try and keep up to date with everything that has happened over the course of the day as well. But Sky Siddle's kart now being brought back into the pits with Sky. Disappointing end to the race, considering her battle with Anna Morris was a very good one up until the point where she spun, and she had got the measure of her. But it's very, very easy to go off in these damp and greasy conditions. She has now brought the kart into the pits, so from our point of view, I think we are just about ready to go racing, and we've only lost a minute in all of that, so that's pretty good to be only 60 seconds or so behind the schedule. And we are heading out onto the circuit now for the formation lap of the TKM Extreme Repechage. So Owain Rosser and Jack Darton will be on the front row of the grid. Well, Owain Rosser may not get going at all. Owain Rosser, the man on pole position for the Repechage, is really struggling to get going at all. His mechanic's fallen over in the bid to get him started. There we go. He has now got going. Well, hopefully there was a camera on him at that point, because I know it's stressful at the moment, but he'll look back on that one and have a giggle. But thank goodness Owain Rosser has got going. That was a very near miss there. And that was a last chance saloon to get into the Repechage, to get into the finals, my apologies. And being on pole position for that and not being able to make it would really have been a problem. So Owain Rosser is going to take his position back at the front of the field. He does the smart and sensible thing, which is cut through the chicane and get himself back into track position. But of course, they're going around for 2 laps of formation around the circuit, so Owain Rosser will have plenty of time to slot back into his allocated grid position at the front of the field. So that was a close shave, but very well recovered there from Owain Rosser and the team. So Owain Rosser is going to be able to make his way back into position as we get ready for the TKM Extreme Repechage. Reminder of the grid: Owain Rosser is there on the front of the grid with Jack Darton alongside him on the front row. Then Nathan Wells and Matthew Horton, Isaac Marsh and Lewis Wadley, Amy Duke, David Brickley, Alexander Lehman, Lewis Rushforth and Sam Johns. And I'm being told that Lewis Rushforth is actually in the pits at the moment. So I think he may have either worked his way into the pits or not even managed to start the race at all. So a big difficulty there. But Lewis Rushforth, according to my timing screens, does not appear to be out on the circuit. I'm just counting the karts that are out there. And there are 10. There are not 11. So Lewis Rushforth, sadly, is the one that's missing. But we have now got the rest of the karts into their grid positions. It's going to be a near miss for the last 2 to get into position before the race begins. But otherwise, I think we've got a clean start. The drivers will be up to full speed when they get there. It's not going to be a good start, no. They have not started by the look of it. The red lights are still on. So that's a false start. And we're going to go around for the 3rd time of asking. So the drivers have been a little bit of a false dawn there, as the drivers were not quite lined up in position. So a bit of a difficulty there. So we'll have to double check on that one, because we think there's a bit of an issue with the 53's transponder. That's going to make things particularly interesting, because Owain Rosser is the man on pole position. So with transponder difficulties, as well as very nearly not taking the start at all. But a very interesting start to proceedings from their point of view. So let's see how the drivers will go. Owain Rosser, Jack Darton, Nathan Wells, Matthew Horton, Isaac Marsh, Lewis Wadley, Amy Duke, David Brickley, Alexander Lehman, Lewis Rushforth, who has joined the field now, and Sam Johns. So thank goodness it was a false start from Lewis Rushforth's point of view, because they have now got him out onto the circuit. So that was a very good call to go and send them round again from Lewis Rushforth's point of view, because now we go. This time, surely. Yes, we're racing. And it's a cracking start from Owain Rosser, who dropped the hammer straight away and has got himself into a very neat and tidy lead there. Jack Darton running well in 2nd position to the first corner, with Wells, Horton, Marsh, Wadley, Duke, Brickley, Lehman, Rushforth and Johns doing a very good job as they run around the circuit in close formation. So as they come off the hairpin, they will now make their way up the back straight and in towards turn 4. That square right-hander, which brings them back into sight. Here they come, a little bit of curb, and it's already a close battle as Jack Darton is starting to get closer. No, it's not Darton, it's Nathan Wells. Nathan Wells has shot through in a 2nd position and is now right on the tail of Owain Rosser. Never mind that, he's diving for the inside line at 6. Good move there from Nathan Wells as he takes the lead in the repechage. So Nathan Wells out in front, then it's Rosser. 3rd position. Looks like there's a debate for 4th place, actually. That looks like Isaac Marsh making a way through. So that is Wells leading from Rosser. And I think that's Amy Duke in 3rd position. What a start from Amy Duke. She's had an absolute flyer in the 83. Up into 3rd place, up 4 positions. Lewis Wadley's there in P4 now. Then it's Isaac Marsh, Sam Johns, Horton, Darton, Brickley, Lehman and Rushforth. But what a start from Amy Duke, the young lady from Chester, my home city. Fantastic work from her as she puts herself into 3rd position, looking for even more from this race. She has lost 2 places on this lap, though, because Wadley and Isaac Marsh have made a way through. But a cracking start nonetheless for Duke, and that puts her right into contention. So out in front, it's Nathan Wells in the 30, looking neat and tidy for the moment. A move for 3rd position, very nearly a move for 2nd. He wasn't planning that. That was Lewis Wadley making his way up the field. No, that's Sam Johns. The 27's made a lot of progress, up 9 places now. Make that 8 places, because Rosser, of course, has slotted back into position. So Sam Johns working his magic through the field. Lewis Wadley's got past Duke, so that's them in 4th and 5th. Then it's Marsh, Horton, Darton, Brickley, Lehman and Rushforth. I've never known a repechage change hands so much over the course of just 2 laps. But Nathan Wells is your leader. And then up to 2nd place, that's Sam Johns, coping beautifully with the conditions, the 27. Here comes Rosser back up the inside. Rosser takes the place back. And then it is Wadley from Amy Duke, the top 5 having got a little way clear. Then it's Isaac Marsh in 6th position. But this is amazing from Sam Johns, who's pushing very hard indeed there in 3rd position, chasing after Owain Rosser. But the leader, unchanged, Nathan Wells. Then it's Rosser, Johns, Wadley, Duke, Marsh, Horton, Brickley, Darton, Lehman and Rushforth. Still all 11, covered by 5 seconds. At turn 3, the hairpin. Wood shavings on the outside. That must be where Joe Turney dropped in the previous race, but really difficult to say what happened until we catch up with him a little bit later on. Nathan Wells, though, out in front. Here he is, coming through to turn 4. Rosser struggling with that slow apex turn, and Sam Johns going very well in the conditions, to be fair. Uses a very different line there. I'm not entirely sure that was planned, but manages to get the kart stopped before Wadley and Duke come through. Now in 6th position. Is that still Isaac Marsh, the 40? Yes, it is. Then in 7th place is the 24 of Matthew Horton. And then it should be Brickley from Darton, Lehman and Rushforth. So unchanged at the moment. Now that's interesting. Owain Rosser has come through on the timing screens in the lead of the race. I'm not entirely sure what happened there because he was leading. Was he leading? Goodness me, he must have done an absolutely amazing job to get the lead back off of Nathan Wells on that one. Yes, he has. He's worked his magic in the last sector. He wasn't leading up until the very last corner. Now he's made the move. I didn't spot that one. So Ross has come through, and Nathan Wells has now got it all to do. In fact, he's now struggling for grip. So Rosser has got himself into the lead and is pulling away. So whatever it was that was holding up Rosser initially, he is now flying. Well, I apologise for not catching that one, but Rosser all of a sudden was right on the back of Nathan Wells and then starting to pull away. Now Sam Johns has got an opportunity to come through, and I think I know the reason why. It looks to me as though Nathan Wells was not on slick tyres initially. I think he's on wets, you know. So an interesting one as Nathan Wells has got Sam Johns behind him on slicks, going full guns blazing, and the sun comes out. That is bad news for anybody who's not on slick tyres at the moment. A couple of drivers decided to choose something different for the repechage, but here they come. Owain Rosser leads the way. Look at how quickly Sam Johns is closing up on Nathan Wells. He's absolutely streaking away. Owain Rosser's got the lead. Sam Johns getting very hectic in 2nd position, trying to chase after Nathan Wells. Wells had grip in the early stages. Now he's really struggling. Sam Johns is almost certainly going to get a chance to come through. But the drivers come through. Sam Johns making his move on the inside, and he's there in a 2nd position. So Sam Johns comes through. The number 27 has come through into 2nd place now, having made the move on Nathan Wells. Sam Johns has time, 5 minutes plus 1 lap, to make a bid for the overtake for the lead. So he's got plenty of time to work his magic, and he's doing a grand job. The first sector, very quick from Sam Johns at 15.79. That's nearly 0.3 of a second faster than anybody else has managed, and that's why he's there in 2nd place, ahead of Nathan Wells now, and trying to chip away after the race leader, Owain Rosser. But Rosser's got some space now between himself and Sam Johns. Nathan Wells in 3rd position. Some great run over the course of the field. That's 4th place man Lewis Wadley. Amy Duke still there in P5 in front of the 40 of Isaac Marsh. So the top 6 still going well. But Owain Rosser leads from Johns, Wells, Wadley, Duke, Marsh, Brickley in 7th place in the 42. Well, he was. Now it's Jack Darton. So Brickley's dropped to 8th place. Then it's Lehman, Horton and Rushforth, as they still continue to squabble away. 4 minutes just over, and then plus 1 lap to remain in the TKM Extreme Repechage. And Owain Rosser looking very comfortable in the lead of the race. At least he was. Now he's got Sam Johns getting closer and closer. And this is going to be a real problem for Sam Johns, because he's going to have to try and find a way to get past Owain Rosser. His comfort, though, is that he's clearly faster in these conditions. Is the rookie going to come through and win the repechage? That would definitely put the feather in the cap, as Rosser comes out of the final turn and leads the way to Sam Johns. As those two disappear into the distance, new fastest lap for Sam Johns, a 46.29, and that 3rd sector particularly quick compared to everybody else. So let's see if that continues on as the race progresses. We've still got plenty of time from Sam Johns' point of view to make the move on Owain Rosser and get the lead. But the Welshman, Sam Johns, doing a fantastic job at the moment as he continues to work his magic around the circuit. Now, is this going to be an opportunistic move? The young man from Cardiff. Oh, wait a minute. He's still right on the back of it. Nathan Wells having pulled out a bit of a gap over 4th place. Wadley, Duke and Marsh still close together. 4th, 5th and 6th. But Sam Johns and Owain Rosser definitely streaking away now. So across the line, Owain Rosser, the young man from Great Dunmow in Essex, doing a fantastic job as he works his way around the circuit, trying to shake off the attentions of the Cardiff man, Sam Johns. They still battle away for position, these two, but Sam Johns, the Welshman, looking particularly fast at this point of the race, with only a few laps left in the bag. But what can the Great Dunmow man do? Not far away from I grew up, actually, Great Dunmow in Essex. I was only down the road in Braintree. Through to the left-hander in the hairpin, turn 5, and then up through turn 6 as well. Good battle between these two. Sam Johns is close, but he's just not close enough to make that ultimate lunge on Owain Rosser, who's controlling his pace very well considering. We've got 2 minutes and 12 on the clock. I reckon that's 4 laps to go in the repechage. So Owain Rosser continues to hold pace. Again, Sam Johns really fast in that third sector. That's where he's making up a lot of his time. The gap is just half a second between the two of them, and they've got 5 more seconds on the man in third place, Nathan Wells. So they've really used these tricky conditions to their advantage, and the drivers are trying to stretch away. But Owain Rosser in with Sam Johns, having a good battle for position. Look how close Sam Johns is now to Owain Rosser. All he needs to do is find a decent exit from one of the slower corners, and he will have a chance to come through on the inside. Sam Johns giving Owain Rosser plenty of pressure and plenty of things to do as they come on to the far side of the circuit once more. Will Owain Rosser be able to hang on to this one in front of Sam Johns, who's very strong in that final sector? He gives chase now as they come off the turn into turn 1. Sam Johns, fastest lap again, a 46.06 this time. So Sam Johns pushing very hard indeed. Rosser, Johns, Wells, Wadley, Duke, Marsh, Darton, Brickley, Lemon, Rushforth and Horton. But who's going to win the race? Who's going to get the first place on the repechage qualification places? It's only the top 6, I believe, that get through into the TKM Extreme Final. So anybody 7th position down is going to have to go home early. And for Owain Rosser and Sam Johns, they do not want it to be either of those two. So as they come through this time by, Sam Johns not as close to Owain Rosser as he was, so he's had to back off a little bit. 40 seconds to go. This is the penultimate lap. And Sam Johns still chasing Owain Rosser for the lead of the race. Nathan Wells in third. Wadley fourth. Then it's Duke, Marsh. Then we have Darton, Brickley, Lehman, Rushforth, Horton. But is Owain Rosser going to be beaten to the flag here by the much faster Sam Johns, who's done a 15.64 in the first sector? That is the fastest of the race so far in the first sector. And he's through. He's through. He's done it. So Sam Johns has already got him. Well, penultimate lap, and he's made his move. So Sam Johns gets through into the lead. Owain Rosser now on the fight back. Can he actually get through and take the position away from him? But at the moment, Sam Johns proving to be the third different leader of this race, because it was Rosser initially, then Nathan Wells, then Rosser took it back, and now Sam Johns going into the last lap. The Welshman doing a fantastic job in the lead here. The third place man, a few seconds back, is the man from Droitwich, Nathan Wells, doing a great job. And then we've got this fantastic 4th place battle, Lewis Wadley in the 98, all the way from Sudbury, just in front of the Chester lady, Amy Duke on the Talco. And then in 6th position, the 40 of Isaac Marsh from Chippenham. But this is going to be a victory for Sam Johns if he can hold on to this. The Cardiff man just keeping stationary at the moment in first position, not letting himself deviate from his path. Owain Rosser breathing down his neck, but he's not going to get close enough, I don't think, into the final hairpin. This will be a brilliant run for Sam Johns, and he will book his place in the TKM Extreme Finals. The checkered flag flies, and Sam Johns is delighted. Wiggles his way over the line there, Sam Johns. That is elation if ever I've seen it. My goodness, Sam Johns very satisfied with that one. Owain Rosser second, Nathan Wells third, and then it's Lewis Wadley, Amy Duke and Isaac Marsh who find them way into the TKM Extreme Finals. Sadly, it's game over for the likes of Jack Darton, Alex Lehman, David Brickley, Lewis Rushforth and Matthew Horton, but they gave as good as they got. So a fantastic win there for Sam Johns. And that was really beautifully fought for. Managed to get got his second sector time down to less than 20 seconds. Such was his pace. And look at him. Sam Johns is bunny hopping around the circuit in the car. He's absolutely blisteringly delighted with that one. He's bouncing away. Sam Johns, very happy indeed with that victory. Goodness me, he's a very, very satisfied chap. And, well, I've seen some celebrations in Super 1, but for a repechage in TKM Extreme, I think that really does take the biscuit. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic celebrations there from Sam Johns. More than a little bit relieved to get himself into the action. Next up, of course, we're going to go racing with the Bambinos in the first finals of MSA Bambino Racing at National Championship level.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
So for the first time in British MSA karting history, Bambinos will race in a final. It's never happened before, and we're very excited to see how these guys get on, with Oscar O'Sullivan and Fraser Anderson on the front row of the grid. And we've already been raving about their photo finish yesterday, when the battle as they came across the line side by side was by 0.02. I had people saying, I wasn't actually watching that race. Which one were you getting all excited about, Jake? I told them it was the Bambinos. They went, really? So they were quite excited by it, and they were very baffled that the Bambinos could be so close. But don't underestimate these guys. They may be the youngest drivers in the entire paddock, but they are very feisty. Oscar O'Sullivan and Fraser Anderson giving us amazing entertainment yesterday. Aston Sharp and Ryan McCall should be good guns as well, with Sky Parker and Gregor Reed on that third row of the grid, from Leith Khan and Evie Davidson, Fletcher Jameson, Freddie Duncan and Freddie Hare. So the drivers head out into unknown territory, as this will only be the third race of their career at national level, but it's the first finals that they will ever have raced in. And this is going to be very interesting indeed for the MSA Bambinos. Great to see these youngsters take to the race circuit in gusto. No more heats, no more qualifying, no more practice, guys. It's now or never. 2 finals, both worthy of maximum points. And it'll be very interesting to see how the drivers go. The officials are on the starting grid. It's the only standing start of the weekend, MSA Bambinos. And we'll get some fantastic entertainment. If yesterday's heats are anything to go by, Oscar O'Sullivan and Fraser Anderson a win apiece yesterday. So they are very closely matched indeed. But who is going to win the 2 finals? That is going to be an interesting one as the MSA Bambinos come round here at Larkhall. It will be Oscar O'Sullivan in the 46 on the inside line for pole position. Fraser Anderson in the yellow machine, number 10 on the front row beside him. Aston Sharp and Ryan McCall. Gregor Reed and Sky Parker, the Welsh lady. Leith Khan and the local lady from Bathgate, Evie Davidson. Fletcher Jameson, Freddie Duncan and Freddie Hare will make up the rest of the grid. Drivers in position. They won't be waiting on the grid long. Their mechanics are there alongside them as we get to the start. And we wait for the sole tyre to drop, and when they do, we go racing for the first final of the day in the MSA Bambinos. The sole tyre drops and we're racing. Cracking start from Oscar O'Sullivan and Fraser Anderson. Not a bad getaway from the 98 as well, as he tries to surge around the outside of Aston Sharp. Gregor Reed gets there. So again, local knowledge giving him a little bit of a boost as he comes through. Good overtaking there from around the outside. Evie Davidson got a reasonably good getaway as well as she charged forward, looking like she was making up a place or two on the way through. So let's see how they work as they come through once again. So the drivers will battle away once again. The red lights are still on the gantry. I'm not entirely sure if that's correct or not, but they are still there. But here come the drivers once again. It is Fraser Anderson who holds the initial lead. Oscar O'Sullivan is there in second position. And then we have the 31 of Ryan McCall. The 98 is next of Gregor Reed. And then it is that Sky Parker in the 48 still reasonably well in position? I think there's an interesting battle cooking up. But let's see how the drivers go. This is Fraser Anderson out in front from Oscar O'Sullivan. Ryan McCall is in third position. That is Sky Parker in P5, pushing very hard as they come through this time by. So great racing. Anderson, O'Sullivan, McCall, Reed, Parker, Duncan, Sharp, Khan, Davidson, Jameson and Hare. Now, what has happened to Jameson and Hare? They've had a little bit of a tumble on the last lap, but don't worry. Keep it going. Keep pushing, guys. Freddie Hare and Fletcher Jameson still battling for that 10th position, with Anderson and O'Sullivan out in front. Anderson setting the initial pace with a 58 dead for the lap, to be fair. So good work from Fraser Anderson, the first lap of the race. And as they motor around the circuit, Anderson has got Oscar O'Sullivan chasing him down. Third position is even closer. We've got Ryan McCall being chased by Gregor Reed and Sky Parker. Gregor Reed is looking very motivated in this one to try and get into the top 3. Sky Parker right there in 5th position as well, hoping to redeem herself after failing to take the start of the second heat yesterday. But her pace was good enough for the top 4. It might even be good enough for the top 3 here. And a podium in her first meeting of the season would be great news for the Welsh lady. But there is the number 10 out front still. Anderson in front of O'Sullivan. Then it's McCall, Reed, Parker. Sharp is 6th position again. Duncan. Then Leith Khan and Evie Davidson. Davidson looking to give Leith Khan a bit of a challenge into that first corner. Then Freddie Hare and Fletcher Jameson still having a bit of a battle between each other. Fletcher Jameson in front of Freddie Hare at the moment. But in terms of Freddie Hare's lap times, his sector times are still pretty reasonable. I think he had an off in that first sector. That's why he has dropped to 11th position. But in terms of his sector times at 2 and 3, he still has good pace, so don't count him out yet. Oscar O'Sullivan in second position, chasing down Fraser Anderson. O'Sullivan going very well at the moment in second place to chase down the race leader, Fraser Anderson. We've got McCall, Reed and Parker, and now joining the party. Oh, we've got an off. Now that is the 11 and the 17. That's Davidson and Laith Khan going off together. Davidson gets out in front of Laith Khan, the 11. And they've both gone off there at turn 5, but they have recovered very quickly. So Anderson and O'Sullivan, then it's McCall, Reed, Parker, and now Aston Sharp. Sharp, I think, had a bit of an incident in the first couple of corners of the race and dropped back. Now he's getting back up to speed, and Aston Sharp has a chance here to move up past 6th position. It's Freddie Duncan in 7th, then it's Evie Davidson from Laith Khan, Fletcher Jameson, and Freddie Hare. But the battle for the lead, I think, is about to get a little bit intense because Oscar O'Sullivan still catching Fraser Anderson. There's only about 0.3 of a second between them as they come through into sight of the spectators again. Turn 5 through the left-hand hairpin. Oscar O'Sullivan looking very racy. 3rd position is a big battle at the moment. McCall has Reed alongside him. Sky Parker having to defend from Aston Sharp as they go through the first part of the hairpin. Sharp's going to try and get the undercut, but Sky Parker uses good gusto to move through. But for 3rd position, that is a change. That is Gregor Reed into 3rd place. So Reed moves up into P3 in front of the 31 of Ryan McCall from Sky Parker and Aston Sharp. Great racing for 3rd. This is where the battle really is between these 4 as Sharp makes the move on Sky Parker. Parker tries to chop across, but I think Aston Sharp got there. Good racing for 3rd position between those 4. Evie Davidson leads the chasing pack in 8th place from Laith Khan, Fletcher Jameson and Freddie Hare. These guys racing for the first time at national level. I couldn't have done this when I was 8 years old, so I'm giving it absolute high fives to all of the drivers in this field. Oscar O'Sullivan chasing after Fraser Anderson. The gap is at 0.7 of a second at the moment, so Oscar O'Sullivan getting very, very aggressive in the braking zone. That will definitely help close up if he can get the exits nailed right. As Sky Parker's looking for a way past Ryan McCall to move up into 4th position. She might get a good exit here out of the hairpin. Ryan McCall is going to go with the same line as the man in 3rd, Gregor Reed. But is Sky Parker going to get a chance to lunge up the inside? Well, she doesn't take it in the final turn. And that's because there's a bit of a squabble happening up in front. Reed still there in 3rd position. Sky Parker trying to go round the long way on Ryan McCall at turn 1. Doesn't quite get the speed to do that, but fastest of all in the first sector is Gregor Reed on a 19.04. He's even faster than the leaders at the moment. So good to see Gregor Reed's ultimate pace is good enough to run at the front. Just needs to not let the first 2 get too far out in front next time. But the new fastest first sector comes from Oscar O'Sullivan as he again chips away at Fraser Anderson's advantage. And there's not much to choose between those 2 as they go up towards turn 6. 3rd position battle, still very close indeed. As Sky Parker trying to break into the top 3. Ryan McCall runs a little bit wide. Parker's going to go to the left side. Can Parker make the switch back? No, well covered by Ryan McCall. He defends beautifully there into P4. But that's given Gregor Reed a little bit of space to secure that 3rd position. So really good start to their racing careers, these guys. They put in a fantastic effort. And all of them deserve a round of applause when they come through at the end of this one. 4 minutes plus a lap left on the clock. This will be the longest race some of these guys have ever done. So these guys are working very hard indeed, considering. And they'll be very happy with the way it's gone. Laith Khan comes through in 8th position. What's happened to Evie Davidson? So Evie Davidson seems to have fallen off the circuit. There she is. So Evie Davidson's had an off somewhere and has unfortunately dropped back into 11th position. So a real shame for Evie. She had good pace yesterday, but I was told that there was an issue with the engine yesterday that was keeping her from the ultimate pace she could find. Now, Sky Parker is in 4th position. Parker is in there behind Gregor Reed, and Ryan McCall is struggling to keep Aston Sharp behind him. Aston Sharp now dives for the inside line at 6th. That's a great bit of defensive driving from Ryan McCall, though, to hang on in front in 5th position. But now Sky Parker is just a whisker away from Gregor Reed to go into 3rd position. So Sky Parker working very well indeed here to try and move up into 3rd place. Ryan McCall still going very well with Aston Sharp trying to get on the inside line for turn 2. Not sure if she made that one work. But really exciting stuff from these guys at the moment as they continue to battle away. Now, as the leaders will come through this time, it's going to be Anderson and O'Sullivan. But what's the gap going to be? It's infinitesimal at the moment because Oscar O'Sullivan is right there behind Fraser Anderson trying to make a way through. Now, they've got Evie Davidson in front of them. They're going to come up to lap her soon. Now, that could cause a bit of an issue. Meanwhile, Sky Parker is going to try and make a move on Gregor Reed at some point. The question is when and where. Reed goes wide out of 5. Parker gets up alongside. Can she now tuck in on the inside to move up into third position? Oh, there's a little bit of a nudge between the two of them. She backs out of the throttle, and that was very good driving from Parker. She realised that was happening, backed out of the throttle. She won't get a penalty for that. Very good work indeed from both of them. So Parker now has another crack at Gregor Reed. That's a little bit of a warning to Reed, though. You need to step on it because Sky Parker's getting on with this. Good work, too, from Freddie Duncan. Completely motivated and still determined to catch up with these four up front. If they start battling, he could well get a very nice surprise at the end of this one. Sat in 7th place. You never, ever give up at this level because you never know what's going to happen. Here come the leaders, Anderson and O'Sullivan. Has Oscar O'Sullivan waited till the last possible moment to make his challenge on Fraser Anderson? They have got Davidson in front of them, and this is going to be interesting to see when they're going to get the lap on. Now, there's a black and white flag going out. That's for the 48. That's Sky Parker. So I'm guessing that's the warning for that little moment. I think that's fair enough, but she won't need any more warning than that. As Fraser Anderson tries to tuck in on the inside of Evie Davidson. That's fine. He'll get through on the inside, no problem. Oscar O'Sullivan should go with. But is that Sky Parker now in third position? It is. Sky Parker's now in third place. So Sky Parker has made the move on this lap to get into the podium position. So it's 3 different nations represented in the top 3 places then. It's Scotland, England and Wales. Anderson, O'Sullivan and Parker in the top 3. Nice symmetry there between the 3 different countries. Whoa, a bit of a wobbly moment there for Freddie Hare in 10th position through 5, but he's got that one saved nicely. But it's Anderson, O'Sullivan, Parker, Reed, McCall, Sharp, Duncan, Khan, Jameson, Hare and Evie Davidson. The leaders have gone through, and actually lapping Davidson has come out better for Fraser Anderson than it has for Oscar O'Sullivan, because Anderson's now got a bit of a gap as we go into the penultimate lap this time by. There's an amazing squabble for 4th position as Ryan McCall and Aston Sharp have caught up to the man in 4th place, Gregor Reed, and they are trying to come past. So as the leaders go through, 3rd position Sky Parker has checked out and is starting to disappear in 3rd position. She'll be very pleased about that. But what about the guys behind? Ryan McCall trying to get past Gregor Reed, and Aston Sharp is watching their every move. Could get very interesting between these 3. 7th place Freddie Duncan, and it looks to me like Evie Davidson has come into... Oh, she has been lapped, by the leaders. I wondered if there was a pink helmeted driver in the pits, but I was slightly taken aback there, slightly confused. But it's Freddie Duncan 7th, Laith Khan in 8th from Fletcher Jameson and Freddie Hare. And then we have our leaders on the road. So Evie Davidson is just sat behind the leaders at the moment. Not a bad place to be, actually, because she'll get a little bit of extra hints from them as to how to go about this. But Anderson and O'Sullivan, 1st and 2nd. Parker is 3rd, and 4th position is anybody's guess. It's still Reed for the moment, trying to get up the inside. Ryan McCall, Aston Sharp trying to find a way past as well. Those 3 will go into the last lap, scrapping away for the top 4. But it looks to me as though Fraser Anderson has got enough to hang on to this in the lead. A really good start to the weekend from Fraser Anderson's point of view. He stole that victory in the 2nd race yesterday on the line, and that's given him bags of confidence coming into this one. So Fraser Anderson will come through turn 4 and have a really strong run from here on in. This is going to be a great end to his race. Here they come towards the hairpin. In through the left-hander in the 2nd sector. He will come this time, and he's got it absolutely in control. He doesn't need to panic at this point. He's got over a 1.5 seconds on his nearest rival, Oscar O'Sullivan. It's been a great run for Fraser Anderson here. He's worked his magic all the way around this circuit, got the position, got the gap when he needed to when lapping Evie Davidson, and he's now going to get the finish. Out of the final turn, the checkered flag will fly, and it's a victory for Fraser Anderson. 2 arms in the air. He is absolutely ecstatic. And the celebrations begin on the pit wall for Fraser Anderson's family. An amazing victory. Well done to Oscar O'Sullivan, though, in 2nd place. He drove a great race. And in 3rd position, it is Sky Parker. 3 different nations in the top 3. Great work. 31, Ryan McCall snatches 4th on the last lap from Gregor Reed and Aston Sharp. 7th place, Freddie Duncan. Never give up. Laith Khan in 8th position from Fletcher Jameson and Freddie Hare. But Fraser Anderson is victorious in the first final at MSA Bambino national level. That's a history moment because no one else will be able to say, I won the first ever MSA Bambino national championship race in history. Fraser Anderson, however, can say that forever. That's one for the grandkids. Absolutely brilliant job. And Fraser Anderson controlling the pace of that race beautifully, waving his hand as he comes into the pits. He has totally and utterly deserved that one. Very good racing indeed. And that takes us into the second final, the televised final, a little bit later on, when Fraser Anderson will be hoping to do just the same thing. Next up, though, we have more great racing on the way, as the first final for the Mini X30s is just a few short minutes away.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
So we've got some great action to come then from the Mini X30s, but the Bambinos come to a finish with Fraser Anderson having taken the victory. Owner of one of the kart sim brigade, of course. The kart sim people are here today. They're over in the CAF. If you fancy having a go on the simulator, 5 laps for a tenner, 15 laps for 20. And obviously the person who walks away on the top of the dais at the end wins the competition. Somebody wipe the smile off Josh Thompson-White's face. It's getting irritating. Please do try and go faster than him. Joining me up in the commentary box now is Kai Bacchini, who wasn't able to race here this weekend. But good to see you, Kai. How are things currently at the moment?
Things are good at the moment. I'm enjoying the kart sim. Currently with Brown's joint third in the championship.
Yeah, because you've been racing in the Super 1 British Esports Championship using the kart sim as well as the actual Super 1 Championships. Would you recommend it to the other cadets out there?
Yeah, I think it's very competitive, and there is a very good field racing. Even if you're an amateur just starting racing, I would start there.
And obviously you've been doing an awful lot of time in the sim. You've been working very hard with your team as well, trying to move your way forward. You weren't able to race this weekend, but you'll be interested to see how your opposition does here at Larkhall.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how the Strawberry team do, because obviously rooting them on because part of the team. As well, my friend Max Dodds, hopefully he does well in the pre-final. He's been doing well in the heats. He's qualified pretty well for the pre-final.
So what do you think we can expect as the track dries out? It was obviously very, very interesting yesterday, and you obviously know this field very well. So who do you think is going to be particularly strong in the dry?
I think Sam Shaw could come forward from third because he qualified 13th and he's brought himself up from 5th. Hopefully Max Dodds can be up there battling with Freddie Slater to wipe the smile off his face, saying see you later Slater. Yeah, just hopefully the Strawberry team do well.
Oh, sounds good to me. Well, will you come back a little bit later and help me with the iArmy finals? That'd be great to hear your voice on the comms.
Yeah, I would love to do that. That would be amazing.
Cheers, Kai. We'll come back a little bit later. Great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Good to see you, and hopefully we'll see you on the track next time for the next round of the championships. We've got the next races. Excuse me, just putting my headset back into position. We've got the next race coming out, which is the Mini X30s. A very competitive grid for this one, as we've seen already. Great to hear from Kai Bacchini there. We'll hear from him a little bit later for the iArmy Cadet Finals. He'll join me up in the commentary box. If anyone else wants to do that, by the way, if any driver's feeling particularly chatty, you're more than welcome to. Don't feel embarrassed. It's radio. No one will watch you. It's fine. Anyway, the drivers getting themselves ready for the Mini X30, the first of our 2 finals. Ivan Lomliev for the Coles Racing team, having taken 2 heat victories yesterday, is the man on form, but the opposition behind is incredibly close. We've got Ivan Lomliev, Josh McLean on the front row of the grid with him, Josh Rowledge and Rashan Chigarimbo, very fast in qualifying, very consistent in the races, but he's still getting used to running at the front, so he's having to work his magic a little bit more delicately than some of the others. Keen Shields, that third row of the grid, the man I've taken to be known as the Flying Scotsman. He is there in the third row of the grid. I know there's plenty of Scotsmen around here, of course, this weekend, but considering how well he went at the iArmy Winter Cup in Valencia as a privateer up against some of the established teams in the European field, to finish third overall in his European debut was quite astonishing, and that is absolutely incredible for Kean Shields. He is there from the third row of the grid. Aaron Walker alongside him, leading the Cato Motorsport charge. Oh, well, that's gone terribly wrong as they leave the pits. Chigarimbo was held up there behind McLean, and Aaron Walker, I think, had absolutely nowhere to go and went into the back of him. Now, there's a potential there for a nose cone penalty, because, of course, if your nose cone is out of position, you'll be docked 10 seconds, which is a really big problem for the races. They've got to be very careful as they leave the pits, and obviously as they run around the circuit too. Aaron Walker and Cian Shields, we talked about on the third row of the grid there. The young man from Chester, Jacob McComb, is there on the fourth row of the grid, P7, alongside Daniel Bolton, another of the Cato Motorsport drivers. And then we have Jessica Edgar, the 47, and Harvey Ryby, the 71 Cato Motorsport racer. The youngest man in the field as well. He's only just turned 12, so he's actually younger than most of the cadet runners. And then we've also got the 33, Oliver Duffel, for Mick Barrett Racing as well. A new formation lap. They're going around twice because, of course, there's a lot more moisture that's gone down on the circuit in the last 24 hours. And apparently we're just being told that after the Miami race we are going open, so it is basically whatever tyre choice you deem to be the right call. So that's going to be an interesting one. So that is the official word. After the Miami final it will be an open meeting. So that's going to be interesting and worth bearing in mind for any of the teams out there who want to make a decent strategic call. It will be an open meeting after the Miami final. So the drivers getting themselves into position as they run around the circuit in formation. This will be an entertaining race in the Mini X30s. Lomliev, McLean, Rowledge, Chigarimbo, Shields, Walker, McComb, Bolton, Edgar, Ryby and Duffel. 11 drivers. May not be the biggest grid, but when you're the champion at the end of the year, no one's going to mind that. Into the final hairpin. It's going to be an interesting one for Lomliev. Can he defend from McLean to that first corner? Let's find out. We'll go racing for 12 minutes plus 1 lap. Rowledge pushes through. So does Cian Shields. Josh McLean completely caught out there in the first start. And that was a fantastic getaway from Lomliev, Rowledge and Shields. They worked together there to push into the 1-2-3. And Lomliev takes over the lead that he has held several times over the course of this weekend already. 2 heat wins earlier in the weekend. Rowledge in second place. Cian Shields is working with Josh McLean to try and close down Rowledge in the Strawberry Racing cart. Pushing very hard indeed as they work their way to the hairpin. Into the inside line. Left through the hairpin, right through the next turn, and then up to the final 3 corners. It is Lomliev in the lead, Rowledge in second. Cian Shields has fought his way through to third position. Fourth is Josh McLean. Then it's Jacob McComb, who's made a cracking getaway. Fifth position, the man from Chester, into P5 on the Team Dulux machine. Then it is Jessica Edgar, who's made a cracking getaway into 6th place. And then it will be 7th is Rashan Chigarimbo, Dan Bolton, Aaron Walker, Harvey Ryby, and Oliver Duffel. Sorry, we've just made need to make a correction. We should have said after the meeting, after the Miami final, it will be a dry meeting. That is the confirmation. So after the Miami final, it will be a dry meeting. Lomliev, Rowledge, Shields, McLean have broken clear of the rest of the field. Then it's McComb and Chigarimbo. Then it is the 3 Cato Motorsport carts in there with Jessica Edgar. So it's Dan Bolton at the front of the field. Then it's Edgar. Then it is Aaron Walker, Harvey Ryby and Oliver Duffel. That's the order as they go through. It's a long race, 10.5 minutes plus 1 lap around the Larkhall circuit. It's a long race. A lot can happen. Fastest in the first sector, Josh McLean. Fastest in the second sector, Ivan Lomliev. Fastest in the third sector, Josh McLean. Very close indeed for pace. Lots of drivers getting very het up and close to each other as they come through. Lomliev, Rowledge, Shields, McLean up to the hairpin, through the left. Very nice work from the 3 of them there as they battle. Jacob McComb's got pressure from Rashan Chigarimbo as he goes for the inside into turn 5 and is through. Chigarimbo goes up into P5. McComb straight back on him as they come up towards the hairpin for the last time of this part of the lap. Here comes Lomliev. Rowledge ducks down, pushing hard. Shields and McLean trying to work together. Chigarimbo 5th. And that's Aaron Walker making the move on Jessica Edgar. Nice sweeping overtake as Dan Bolton appears to have had an off on that lap and is now down in 11th position. Disappointing for Dan Bolton, but he will keep fighting. And he just needs to keep charging forward. It's a long race, don't forget. 9.5 minutes. Anything can happen here at Larkhall, and it tends to. Lomliev, Rowledge, Shields, McLean. Chigarimbo's getting away from Jacob McComb, and that's an off for Aaron Walker. Aaron Walker's gone off the circuit as Duffel makes the move on Ryby. And Walker having all sorts of difficulties there, going off onto the grass. And that's a real problem as Harvey Ryby makes a good move on Oliver Duffel. Straight after Duffel made the move on him. So a big fighting manoeuvre there from Harvey Ryby, getting his elbows out. Really good racing from the man with the Lest We Forget helmet design. Really cool there. He supports the Help for Heroes charity. And he's one of the youngest men, he is the youngest man in this field. And as we've already mentioned, he's quite considerably older than half of the cadet field. Here they come. Younger, I should have said, of course. Rowledge on the back of Lomliev. And now it is McLean in front of Cian Shields. So McLean has made the move into P3. Cian Shields is still there, though, 4th place. He knows the circuit, but obviously he's still getting used to the Mini X30 cart. Then they come through this time by. That's Russian Chigarimbo in 5th, Macomb in 6th position, Jessica Edgar still running in 7th place for Fusion. Then it's Ryby, Duffel, Walker, and of course at the back is Dan Bolton for the moment, but still going very well. So Ivan Lomliev controlling the pace of things at the moment from Josh Rowledge and Josh McLean. Kian Shields in 4th position, still using that local knowledge. Where is Kian Shields? Where's Kian Shields? Oh, he's dropped back behind Chigarimbo. So a bit of an issue there for Kian Shields. He's dropped back into 5th place, and Chigarimbo has gone back into P4. So these three have made a clean break. Lomliev, Rowledge, and Josh McLean. 3 different teams in the top 3. Coles Racing, Strawberry Racing, Fusion Motorsport in the top 3. Chigarimbo up to 4th, as we know. Then it's Kian Shields, Jacob McComb, Jess Edgar, Harvey Ryby, Oliver Duffel, Aaron Walker, and Dan Bolton. A tough race at the office thus far, but there's still plenty of time to come back and make the positive changes. As we said, after the IARMY final, it will be a dry meeting, so it's going to be interesting from here on in. This is going to be quite a sensational tussle for the top 3 if we get to the closing stages. We still have 7.5 minutes on the clock plus 1 lap, so we're still quite a long way from the tail end Charlie of this race. The final hairpin, still these 3 locked together. Lomliev, Rowledge and McLean. They've pulled well clear. McLean is the fastest man of the race, a 39.86. He's the first driver to get a sub 40-second lap by my reckoning. Chigarimbo 4th, then Shields, McComb, Edgar, Ryby, Duffel, Walker and Bolton. So good battling all the way through this one. Let's see how things go for the course of the last couple of meetings. It's been a very difficult start to the season for Ivan Lomliev leading the way. Championship leader is the man in 2nd place, Josh Rowledge, coming into this weekend. We've had 2 different winners of the televised finals, the last races of the weekend. Jessica Edgar was the winner at PF, and last time out it was Josh Rowledge at Wilton Mill. Now here at Larkhall, it's going to be very interesting to see which of these 3 at the front is going to get themselves into the best possible chance to win that televised final. But it's the same points for final 1 as it is for final 2, so it's just as important to race. Harvey Ryby closing right up on Oliver Duffel as they battle away for position once more. But Harvey Ryby has definitely not given up. He's got a great battle in front of him and he knows it. Lomliev, Rowledge, McLean no longer because it's McLean in 2nd place ahead of Rowledge. So McLean has made the move to get into 2nd position, but can they break down Ivan Lomliev? He's been absolutely concrete and cemented in that 1st position up front. Nobody's been able to get near him in the latter stages of races, so they're still going well. A gentle reminder to the people down the main straight, please do not signal to your drivers. It has been outlawed since 2017. Please don't do it. So the drivers come through that first couple of corners once again. Ryby on the back of Oliver Duffel. Lomliev, McLean, Rowledge, Chigarimbo, Shields and Macomb with Edgar, Duffel, Ryby, Walker and Bolton still charging after them. This is a great race for Lomliev, but McLean, having got past Rowledge, is now starting to make an inroad into Lomliev. He's definitely visibly more close to where he was before. Faster in the 1st split, faster in the 2nd split. Rowledge fastest of all in the 2nd split. Still very close to call between these 3. And they will continue to work hard over the course of this 5 minutes and 9 seconds, plus 1 lap. But Chigarimbo in 4th from Shields. Macomb in 6th position, being caught by Jess Edgar, actually. Harvey Ryby has managed to get the move done again on Oliver Duffel. And then we've got Aaron Walker and Dan Bolton still recovering after their little mishaps. But look at this trio up front. McLean has gone with Rowledge to close right up to Lomliev. This is not done yet. If anything, it is just about to get going between these 3. Kian Shields trying to get closer to Rushan Chigarimbo, and he has been setting some good sector times. Although Chigarimbo's slightly faster than him at the moment, although not in the 2nd sector. Shields a lot faster. Lomliev, McLean, Rowledge. McLean fastest of all in the 3rd sector. Lomliev fastest of all in the 2nd sector, so he's trying to get away. But there is a very tight battle at the moment between these 3 up the top of the field. Lomliev, McLean and Rowledge. And it's a little bit of all 3 of them now. The fastest of all in the 1st sector is McLean. The fastest of all in the 2nd sector is Lomliev. The fastest of all in the 3rd sector, well, it was Rowledge. Now it is McLean again. So they are trading fastest sector times as McLean has got very close to Lomliev this time. Is he going to dive for the move? Not this time. Goodness me, it's getting tight. It's getting very tense, and they know it. So is this going to be a chance for McLean down into the hairpin? I'll try and watch, but I can't see much of that part of the circuit as they come through. They're just a blur. They're going so quickly. But a really exciting battle it's been, and a fantastic race thus far. Lomliev still in front of McLean. McLean's now going for the move into turn 4, and this will be McLean through. Yes, it is. Josh McLean takes the lead of it. Lomliev's going to come straight back and get the move on the inside. There's not enough room. Goodness me. So Josh McLean holds on to the advantage, and now Rowledge is going to get the move on Lomliev. Here he comes, and through in a second place. So that's given Josh McLean a clean break out in front. Brilliant stuff at the moment. A warning yet again to the people on the main straight. Please do not signal to your drivers. It is not legal. So please do not do so. 3 minutes and 5 seconds plus 1 lap on the clock. Very exciting stuff in the Mini X30s at the moment. It's McLean from Rowledge and Lomliev, Chigarimbo, Shields, McComb, Edgar, Ryby, Duffel, Walker and Dan Bolton. But here they come once again into the second sector. They've been very strong thus far. Still a good battle between these three at the front, but McLean has got some breathing space between himself and Josh Rowledge, and that's where this race could be won. But Lomliev will need to try and work with Rowledge if he can to close down the gap. Still great racing as they come through this time by. McLean, Rowledge, Lomliev, Chigarimbo, Shields and Jacob McComb in P6. Jessica Edgar is in 7th place from Ryby and Duffel, and then it's Walker and Bolton. But Josh McLean for Fusion working very hard at the moment to try and stretch away from Josh Rowledge. And he has got a gap. Look at that. That's a good 9 and 10 kart lengths. But Lomliev is going to want to try and get on terms with Josh Rowledge again. From Rowledge's point of view, second position is not that bad considering he leads the championship. That's damaged imitation. But Josh McLean is one of his fiercest opponents. So he will not want to lose too many points to the Fusion driver. As they come through this time, it is still Josh Rowledge in second from Lomliev. Fastest lap of the race from Josh McLean in the lead. 39.57 this time. And all of the drivers very nearly appear to be within just a whisker under 40 seconds for the lap. There are a few of them who are not quite at that pace. But Rowledge and Lomliev are starting to lose ground to McLean. They've got to work together, but they are running out of time. And Josh McLean is checking out in the lead of the race. And that is not good from their point of view. So Josh McLean doing a fantastic bit of effort here from this one. He timed his move to perfection, if we're perfectly honest. He did an absolutely cracking job. And now the young man from Normanton Leheath is going to work his magic as he pushes away from the other two. Lomliev, based in London these days, of course, the Bulgarian in 3rd position, trying to get after the Ashington Championship leader, the rookie Josh Rowledge. So let's see how he goes with 1 minute and 1 lap left on the clock. And as they come through this time, we will see how it looks. But Rowledge has got Lomliev very close to him. But I think they're too far back to really challenge for a position. It will be a tough one as they try and race for the dais. But they will be on the podium for this battle. Of course, the final podium is the one where trophies are given out. So let's see how they go across the line. It's a good run from McLean, Rowledge and Lomliev. Still racing for position. 4th place. Chigarimbo still trying to hang on in front of Kean Shields. Wouldn't be a bad place for Kean Shields to start. That inside line again would give him an advantage off the second final. Jacob McComb going great guns for the Team Dulux outfit. Jessica Edgar, Harvey Ryby, and then Aaron Walker, Oliver Duffel down to 10th position. And I think Dan Bolton has now retired from the race, unfortunately. But out in front, we're about to go into the last lap, and Lomliev's having a real go at Rowledge for second place. This is going to be a very interesting final lap, but the last lap begins, and it's the man out front, Josh McLean, who's got a clean bit of road in front and behind him. Rowledge defending from Lomliev. Great racing from those two. Chigarimbo's got Kean Shields breathing down his neck as they come through. Then McComb has got Jessica Edgar chasing him down. Edgar's really had a fantastic end to this race and has been chipping away at this very carefully. I think she'll just run out of time to get on terms with Jacob McComb. That's going to be a real shame. But out in front, as Rowledge defends like crazy to Ivan Lomliev, Josh McLean is going to get the victory here with some absolutely superb driving. McLean will take the victory out of the final hairpin, and it's a win for Josh McLean. Great race, and he gets the 75 points. Beautifully done. Second place is Rowledge in the end in front of Ivan Lomliev, who still gets the top three. And then it's close to the line. Goodness me. Chigarembo just beats Key and Shields. That was determination to the last. Only 100th of a second between them at the flag. So close. And then it's Jacob McComb from Jess Edgar and Harvey Ryby. A great fighting drive from Ryby to make up some of the time lost. Aaron Walker in 9th position. Oliver Duffel in 10th place. And Dan Bolton, unfortunately, retiring from the race early. But what a battle. And Josh McLean taking the victory for Fusion Motorsport. They'll be very happy with that one. And Josh McLean, very satisfactory performance. I'm sure everybody back home at Normanton Leheath will be very happy with that one indeed. So some great racing, some great driving, and some pretty sensational battles throughout the race there, because of course we've got a lot more to talk about as the racing develops. And next up, of course, we have the IARMY Cadet Final, and we'll be talking about that one with great relish and anticipation.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
And as we get ready for the IARMY final, joining me in the commentary box for this one will be one of the drivers who regularly races in the field. Wasn't able to this weekend, but great to see him here. Kai Vicini, known as the Boxer. Good to see you here, and you've obviously been down there watching the racing go. How does the track look from your point of view?
It's kind of slippy around a few corners, but most of the track is dry.
So from your point of view, it is absolutely bone dry for the rest of the day. It is going to be tricky though, because the circuit's quite cool. So what's it like driving in those conditions when you're in the heat of a race?
Normally you just have to take it a bit easier than normal to keep the car under control, or obviously you'll come off the track.
So there's obviously going to be a few parts of the circuit that are going to be very interesting for the drivers to go around. We've seen quite a lot of battles over the course of the day already. We'll just talk through the IARMY Cadet grid for this one. It is Arvid Lindblad and Freddie Slater on the front of the grid, with Max Dodds and Brandon Carr on the second row behind them. Then Sam Shaw, Will McIntyre and Harry Jr. Burgoyne is there on the fourth row, and then rounding up the top. That's a really competitive field, and they're all very closely matched.
I'd say it will be quite a close race between all the packs. That will be, obviously there'll be a front pack and there'll be a back pack, but I think there'll be quite a bit of action between both of them.
And it's really important as well, when you're in the midst of a battle with other drivers, you really want to win the battle that you're in, even if it's for 11th, 12th, 13th position. It's really important for your own confidence to win that battle you're in.
Yeah, you have to be really careful when overtaking to not take the other driver off, or you might get a penalty. But it's really important to get that extra place. That could give you extra points for the championship, which could bump you up quite a bit.
Fantastic. I'm loving the insight. I bet Martin Brundle's panicking, Kai. Anyway, we've got a message. Nathan Wells, the number 30 for the senior TKM. You need to get to the steward's room, please. It is urgent. You make your way there now. Nathan Wells for the senior TKM, number 30. Please make your way to the steward's office. Thank you. And we would like to ask, it's always an awkward one, this, but we need to ask somebody to move their car, because it's in an inconvenient place and it is causing an obstruction. It is a light blue Hyundai. It is Echo Foxtrot 67 Yankee November Tango. So anybody who's got a Hyundai which is light blue, you unfortunately do need to move it. That is Echo Foxtrot 67 Yankee November Tango. Please move it. I know it's brand new, but please do move it. It's very, very nice of you to do so. Thank you. So we'll talk through the rest of the grid and IARMY Cadet, because we have Lindblad and Slater at the front, as we mentioned, Dodds and Carr, Shaw and Neat, McIntyre and Burgoyne, and then Watts and Robinson. Just behind them we have the Gladiator, Maximus Hall. Ashton Hodgson is in there as well. MJ Canini, the man who very, very narrowly escaped disaster at Wilton Mill last time. Vinnie Phillips in alongside him as well. Another of the rookies, Bart Harrison, in there alongside the Pineapple, Oliver Wright. And then we have Ella Stevens, the Birrell Cadet UK champion from last year, doing a great job alongside Harley Keeble on the 9th row of the grid. And then we have Max Barrow and Charlie Rippin. Jack Younger for Strawberry Racing is in there alongside Ian Aguilera, the Mexican. And then we have Luke Sintler, William Go, Alex O'Grady and Archie Clark. It's been a really impressive fight, and it's a very impressive field here this year, not just at the front of the grid but at the back, Kai. It's really interesting to see how close all of the drivers are.
Yeah, I think there's lots of drivers at the similar level, so obviously they'll be battling, and yeah, just lots of similar drivers that will be battling at the front and back.
So they're sat in the pits at the moment waiting to go out. At this point they're going to be waved out. What's it like when you've got all of that emotion and tension bubbling over? What do you feel when you're in the kart at that point?
I think it's really nervous when you're at the front, because obviously you want to do well but not come off. And obviously at the start if you're at the back, there's going to be a lot of chaos in the mid-pack, maybe even sometimes some people spinning off.
Really exciting. Thank you for those points on that, and we'll try and pick up with you over the course of the race. We'll both keep an eye, because there's going to be a lot to pick up on. There's several directions to look in. If you see anything in particular, Kai, do pack me on the shoulder, and we'll try and get you to let us know what's going on. So we've got Lindblad and Slater out there on the front of the grid. Then we've got Dodds and Carr, Shaw and Neat, McIntyre and Burgoyne, Watson, Robinson, Hall and Hodgson, Monda Junior Canini and Vinnie Phillips. Then it's Harrison, Wright, Stevens, Keeble, Barrow, Rippin, Younger, Aguilera, Sintler, Go, Grady, O'Grady, I should say, and Archie Clark. Really interesting battle it's been thus far, but there's a long, long way to go in these two finals. Very long races, 12 minutes behind the wheel as they're going to go around again for a second formation lap. This is the point in the race when I guess the tension and the nerves. Formation lap. What are you trying to do when you're out there at this point?
I mean, you're trying to warm your tyres up, but not try and overheat them to spin off. And obviously, if they're too cold, you're going to be sliding throughout the race.
So how do you get the balance then when you're heating up the tyres between just on temperature and overheating them? Where makes the difference?
You need to get in the middle. You need to go hard on the rolling up lap. You need to go hard into the corners to warm up the front end, but also you need to keep the steering wheel moving to warm up the back end, so it's sliding a bit to keep the heat going up.
Fascinating stuff. Really looking forward to seeing how that goes. Oh, and that's a bit of a moment there for the 68 on the rolling lap. That's Harry Junior Burgoyne, the local man. And we've got an off as well. Is that the number 10? Is that Luke Watts? I think that is Luke Watts, who's had a problem already. The number 10, yes, he has, and has spun it at the entrance to the hairpin. He's not going to be able to take the start. That is a disaster for Luke Watts. So that means in the second final, he's trying to start the kart up again now to get at least something from this race, but we are going round again as a result of it. We're not racing this time because his kart is still on the racing line, of course. And, well, that is a big problem. And you've had issues in the past, Kai, where something's gone wrong on that run up to the grid. What must go through your mind at that point?
You, most of the time, really angry. And what you need to do is most of the time stay calm, because when you're angry, it just makes you go too hard and spin, and you lose your head. When you're calm, all you need to do is try and catch up with the rest of the pack and try and get back into your position before the yellow flag.
Always good to see how the drivers respond to things like that, and I've always been very impressed with the composure of these drivers at this level, but we have to keep reminding ourselves these are 8 to 13 years old drivers, and you guys are doing it very, very hard at a very top level. The National Championship's incredibly competitive, so they'll go around again this time. Lindblad, Slater, Dodds, Carr, Shaw and Neat, and I think the number 10 has got going. Oh, he should have really skipped through the chicane there to catch up with the rest of the field. That's going to compromise his race to a certain degree, but he will learn the hard way. Here we go for racing, though, and Slater's going to get squeezed there as Dodds comes through. That looked like an incredible start from Aidan Neat, who was charging his way through. That was a really incredible bit of driving there for the 57. Came from about the third grid row back. How on earth did he find that speed off the line? That was really impressive. So a lot of jockeying for position as they come through. Who is leading the race? I think that is Arvid Lindblad, the number 2, who has held on to his lead. Then it is the O-plate Freddie Slater, still in position. Then it's McIntyre. But where has Aidan Neat gone? Oh, he's still there. He's in 7th position. We got a yellow flag, though, because we got an off. That is the 15, and that's caused a little bit of a roadblock. The 87 going up and over Vinnie Phillips, and the 43 of Archie Clark making up some places as a result of all that, despite getting tagged. But they will come over the line this time, and it's Lindblad leading the way from Freddie Slater, William McIntyre, then Dodds, Shaw, Carr, Neat, Burgoyne, Robinson, and Maximus Hall, the Gladiator, has come up into the top 10. So the two men in trouble, unfortunately, Luke Watts and Harley Keeble, the Oliver Rowland Motorsport kart. That's two big names really struggling, but Luke Watts has been given the warning flag. I'm guessing for the way he tried to make himself back onto the circuit, because there was a little bit haphazard, but desperation does creep in sometimes. Lindblad, Slater, McIntyre, Dodds, Shaw, and Carr. Carr's going to try and squeeze Shaw. That's a good bit of an overtaking move there into the hairpin, leaving Shaw absolutely no room for negotiations. And the current championship leader in the Super 1 British Esports Championship, Shaw, is squeezed down there to 6th position. So we've got Lindblad, Slater, McIntyre, Dodds, Carr and Shaw. Then it's Harry Junior Burgoyne through into 7th place in front of Neat, Robinson and Max Hall. Really exciting stuff so far. Ellis Stevens, having made up initial progress, has got Vinnie Phillips going down the inside and making the place up into 18th position. Some good battles and some good racing in the early stages. So let's see what we have. Lindblad with a lead of 0.7 of a second over Freddie Slater, but that's not going to stay that way for long because he's got a support cast. McIntyre, Dodds and Brandon Carr all in there as well. Now the reason, of course, Max Dodds moved across to the Oliver Rowland Motorsport team for this weekend is he felt the best way to challenge the Fusion Brigade is to work with Arvid Lindblad and get away the gap. So it's really interesting to see how those two are going to battle with the two Fusion pair up front, who this year looks almost certain to be week in, week out. Freddie Slater and Will McIntyre. They both had a televised final victory this year, of course. Slater at PF, McIntyre at Wilton Mill. So we'll see how things go in this part of the season. But, of course, Arvid Lindblad really has been the one to keep the initial pace in the early stages. Feisty drive from Sam Shaw, trying to keep in it, though, with Brandon Carr. And it's good to see that, Sam is one of those drivers who never really gives up, Kai.
No, I think he tries his best to get forwards in the pack, but he's always really careful when overtaking. He never really wants any other driver to go off.
Speaking of overtakes, Dodds has made a beauty there into third position. Dodds gets through past McIntyre, and that puts him into the top three. So it's ORM Fusion in the top four. Then it is Brandon Carr, making it 3 Oliver Rowland Motorsport karts in the top 5. Sam Shaw for Strawberry right in there in P6. Harry Jr. Burgoyne catching them up as much as he possibly can in 7th. Then it is Robinson, Max Hall, and Aidan Neat. So a good run there in the top 10. Hodgson in 11th. Canini's doing a great job there in 12th position as well. Great to see his confidence is sky high once more after his nasty moment at Wilton Mill in the final turn. But Canini really getting up the pace again. Rippin is there in 13th from Harrison, Sentler, Aguilera, Phillips, and William Goes having a great race. The Piers Sexton Racing driver. Great race here, up to 18th position. Great work. Being engineered, of course, this weekend by Colin Brown, the man who once kicked Lewis Hamilton to the curtain. So really exciting battles. As up the inside, that is a great little move from the back Sparrow as he battles away with the likes of Oliver Wright, Archie Clark and Alex O'Grady, and that's a spin. That is the 90, who has had a little bit of a moment there. Real shame, and that's a really tricky corner, but it's so easy to lose it when you're in the gaggle of karts.
Yeah, especially when you're in the middle of 2 people, when you're getting squeezed by 2 people. It's really hard because when there's 3 people, there's always one person going to come off worse.
And you always it always seems to be one time or another that you draw the short straw. Here comes Slater, makes the move up the inside. See you, Slater, as he takes the lead. But now he's got a real problem because Lindblad and Dodds are now working in tandem. And this is how they've been able to get past the Fusion guys over the last couple of days. So they will work together. Here comes Lindblad again. If he keeps the door open, Dodds may get a chance to come through. And this is going to be an interesting one. Yes, Slater has gone off the road. Now, Freddie Slater is into the chippings there on the final turn backwards. So Freddie Slater, the O-plate, is not going to win this one. That is a real turn up for the books. And now it's Lindblad and Dodds who are able to get through. Now, Lindblad made the move there on Freddie Slater. I didn't see if there was actually contact between them or whether Lindblad managed to squeeze by and just Freddie Slater was not able to back out of the corner in time. So what this now means, of course, is that the O-plate, Freddie Slater, has got a real mission ahead of him. He's going to really struggle for the rest of this meeting, and it's always a very difficult proposition to make that kind of progress. Lindblad and Dodds are now doing exactly what they set out to do, disappear into the distance, get a gap. With 6.5 minutes to go, they will work together to get away from McIntyre, who has no help behind him, by the way. Brandon Carr's there in 4th place now from Burgoyne. Burgoyne in 5th position, doing a great job. Shaw in 6th. Then it's Hall, Robinson, Neat and Hodgson with MJ Canini just 1 place off the top 10. Then it's Rippin, Harrison, Sintler, Aguilera, Phillips, Stevens, Go, Clark and Oliver Wright. Freddie Slater has come through, although he is now at the back of the field, bar 1. That's Jack Younger and Harley Keeble out of the race, as we know. But his teammates, Lindblad and Dodds, are disappearing out in front. And when you've got some good track space, Kai, and you've got one person to work with, this is the best. This is basically the best thing to do. You want to try and get away from the rest of the field. And then with a couple of laps to go, it's all holds barred. You can do what you like.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Lindblad and Dodds should just push away from McIntyre and then last couple of laps do what they want.
Being in that pair of drivers at the front, I mean, is it... Oh, we've had an incident now at the final turn. That's the 24 that's gone. That's Ashton Hodgson. So Hodgson's had a bit of a moment there in the final turn. He's got away with it, but he hasn't lost as much time as Freddie Slater did, but that was still going to be a little bit of a compromising moment. Meanwhile, in all of that, Luke Watts has charged his way up into the middle of that tail end of the pack, and he's made up for very good progress. He was a good 10 seconds behind the rest of the field at one point, and now he's in there. I was going to say, Kai, when you're those two drivers in the leading pack and you're trying to break away, which is the better position to be in the lead or in second? Which is the easiest on the car?
Well, it depends how far behind the person behind is. Obviously, you would prefer to be the person ahead because then you have the person behind you pushing you. But also, if you're the person in second and you're faster, you'd rather.
Always good to get that kind of insight. That's the kind of insight I don't have, having never raced at cadet level in the national championships. And that's a bold move from Barrow on the inside. Great overtaking move there on Archie Clark, but Clark will fight back. Here are those two out in front. Look at the gap between them and Will McIntyre now. That is a solid bit of driving from the pair of them as they have stretched out the advantage out in front. We have been handed in some keys at race control. If anybody is missing them, please do come up into race control. They were found yesterday near Scrutineering. Sorry to interrupt a race commentary for that, but it is important for the person who owns them. Anyway, those three out front, Lindblad and Dodds, McIntyre, Carr, Burgoyne, Shaw, a great trio battling away between Max Hall, Robinson and Neat. Then it's Rippin, Montegiuni, Canini in there as well, with Ashton Hodgson, Bart Harrison, Vinnie Phillips, Aguilera, Sintler, Stevenson, Go. And Luke Watts has made another place, this time on Oliver Wright, to move himself back into 19th place. Not the easiest of weekends for Luke Watts, but he's doing exactly what you should do in these situations. When the chips are down and when you've fallen down the pack, the only thing to do from this point, Kai, is to just knuckle down, get on with it, because you never know what's coming around the next lap.
Yeah, what you need to do is stay calm and not get angry, because when you get angry, you most of the time overdrive the car and come off again. What you need to do is stay calm and just drive forwards.
Calm and cool is the way forward as the drivers continue to battle. We've got an amazing squabble for fourth position now between Burgoyne, Carr and Shaw, and any one of those three is going to get the place at this point. Rippin's right on the back of the 12, on the back of the 93, I should say, of Maximus Hall. I was watching the 12 on the lap charts. That's why I was thinking of it. Harley Keeble. Then we have out in front still these two. Look, Lindblad and Dodds just pushing away. No attempt at an overtake from Dodds. This is exactly what they set out to do. They wanted to get one over on the Fusion boys today. And it's a real shame that Freddie Slater ended up running out of road. Oh, and that's a move from Leo Robinson that's ended up forcing Maximus Hall wide. Oh dear, Leo Robinson committed to the move. Maximus Hall was turning in. And I'm not sure he even knew Leo Robinson was attempting an overtake on that one. So I'm not sure whether Leo Robinson's going to get a warning for that one. I think that's a bit harsh if so. But always very difficult to time how the move is going to go. And now Leo Robinson is setting out in front of Aidan Neat and the leading rookie, Brandon Carr, who's done such an amazing job out in the United States of late. Really good to see him doing a fantastic job at the SKUSAs. But Lindblad and Dodds still stretching away. And this is how important it is to get a good advantage in the sunshine here at Larkhall. 2 seconds ahead of Will McIntyre they are now. And they are just cooperating with each other. They've obviously been working on this chemistry since they joined the team. Well, since Max Dodds joined the team, I should say. Lindblad's been there since day one at the beginning of last year, working with the Oliver Rowland Motorsport team. It is the newest team on the block at national cadet level, of course. And they've been right at the front from the get-go with just one driver they ran last year, Arvid Lindblad, very nearly as an independent, of course, and running very well indeed. And now there's a lot of drivers in that team. They clearly know what they're doing. And Oliver Rowland, of course, one of the most successful drivers at Super 1 level. So they're learning from one of the best. But Lindblad and Dodds stretching away. 2.5 seconds now ahead of Will McIntyre. This is no longer a race between three drivers. It's a race between two teammates.
Yeah, I think the Oliver Rowland Motorsport team is doing very well because they have a professional giving them loads of advice, which obviously he in the past has been doing karting. I think they're doing the right thing until the last couple of laps. They've, in a few minutes, pulled a 2.2 second gap, which is really good.
Yeah, really good at this stage of the race with 1:15 plus 1 lap on the clock. It's going to be really good from their point of view. 68 Burgoyne, Brandon Carr and Sam Shaw. Then Neat and Robinson, Max Hall still in front of, now in front of MJ Canini. Harley Keeble's gone through, so he's there in position. I think he's had an issue with his transponder, so that's why Harley Keeble is down at the back of the field, because he's there in position, just in behind MJ Canini, just ahead of MJ Canini, I should say. So actually, Harley Keeble is 10th on the road. So I was a little bit perplexed as to why I couldn't see Harley Keeble having pulled off. So he's got an issue with his transponder, the number 12. So Keeble is there in position. There he is, battling away with MJ Canini and the 24 of Ashton Hodgson as they go through turn 6. And Canini makes a beautiful move on Keeble there, and that puts him up into the top 10. And he's got the nerve to just give a little wave behind it to Keeble and say, come on, mate, let's work together and move forward. That must be very frustrating as a driver when you've had an overtake from someone who then has the nerve to say, oh, come on, mate, let's work together.
Yeah, I think sometimes it can be helpful, but it's really annoying when it's the last couple of laps, someone makes a move and tells you to push. You just really want to get back past them.
You want to get them straight back. Here are the two leaders still out in front, and they've now pulled away to the tune of 3 seconds to Will McIntyre. A lot of long faces this time at Fusion when there have been so many beaming grins over the early part of the season. But this was what Arvid Lindblad and Max Dodds set out to do. They said, let's join forces, let's crack them. And this is exactly what they came to do. Last lap, it's up to them now. They can do what they like. They've got 3.4 seconds on Will McIntyre. Burgoyne and Sam Shaw making the move on Brandon Carr. Good overtaking move there. It's still not done as they work their magic. Let's see. That's Keeble and MJ Canini still battling away. The 77 in there as well. That's Bart Harrison having a good tussle with Aguilera, Watson, Ellis, Stevens in that mix as well. Here they come. They're still battling for position. Lindblad and Dodds. No major overtaking move from Dodds yet, but they've got plenty of space. It's now every man for himself between these two. There's no team orders as such in the world of British national karting. So can Dodds make a nice final move on Lindblad? Run out of the hairpin. Can Dodds get him to the flag? But the answer is no. They will be side by side. Perfect discipline, and they will share the front row of the grid for the next one. McIntyre third from Burgoyne. Sam Shaw, critical inside line start. Aidan Neat, Leo Robertson, Max Hall, and MJ Canini in front of Harley Keeble, who finishes 11th in front of Rippin, Hodgson, Phillips, Luke drive from him there. Good drive to 15th, I should say, including Harley Keeble. Then it's Stevens in 16th from Sintler, Slater, who recovers to 18th place. Fair play to Freddie Slater. Then it's Ian Aguilera, Oliver Wright, William Goh, Archie Clark, then Max Barrow, Alex O'Grady, Bart Harrison, and 26th, and at the back, sadly, is Jack Younger. Oh no, Bart Harrison had a moment on the last lap, so Jack Younger comes through for 24th. I'm not sure what's happened to Bart Harrison. He seems to have fallen off on the last lap. But whatever. There is Bart Harrison coming through to finish the race in 26th. Unfortunately, he had an off on the first sector and lost half a minute. But all 26 that started finished. Harley Keeble on the timing screens is showing as non-start. But he did actually finish the race in 11th in front of Charlie Rippin. But what a fantastic run from Arvid Lindblad and Max Dodds. They came to demonstrate what they could do, and they did it.
I mean, I think it's very important in the final that those two just push together and push till the last lap and then do what they done again. But hopefully Max Dodds can pick Lindblad. I've known Max for longer, so that's who I'm rooting for.
It must be really frustrating being up here in the commentary box watching, but have you picked up any tips for next time?
Yeah, quite a few.
Don't give any away, whatever you do.
Not going to.
Well done, Kai. Thanks very much. We'll see you again for the second final later on. Thank you, Kai.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, I'll tell you what, Martin Brundle needs to worry. There's a good little commentator we've got there in Kai Bacchini. He's good in the kart and out of it. Anyway, we're going to take a short pause as we get ourselves ready for the next final. And it's going to be a really interesting one, to be fair. We've had the Bambinos, the Mini X30s and the iArmy Cadets thus far. I'll tell you what, Kai Bacchini, smashing commentary. He can do just as well in the kart as he can out of it. My goodness, we've got another, I'll tell you what, we've got a downforce staff member if we're not careful right there. He's pretty good. Anyway, I wasn't that good at commentating when I was his age. Anyway, brilliant stuff, and we've had 3 of our finals thus far, Bambino, Mini X30 and iArmy Cadet. And of course, next coming up, it's one of the battles everybody has been clambering all the way up to Scotland to watch. The first round of the 2018 season of the Junior TKM battle, the Abbey Pulling title defence.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
So once again, an absolutely brilliant battle. And it will be a really interesting fight from the Junior TKM battle. We had Abbey Pulling taking 2 heats yesterday to start her title defence off in fantastic fashion. But there will be an amazing race to come up for the Junior TKMs. Abbey Pulling and Oliver Richardson will be on the front row of the starting grid from Dan Butterworth and Spencer Stevenson. Ben Watson and Aston Wigley will be next. Louis Harvey and Connor Kearney on the 4th row of the grid from Zach Oates and Dan McKeown. William Orton and Max Davies. Zach Taylor and Liam Hurrell. Jensen Davis and Archie Strong. Dominic Kilmister and Ethan Newsham. Joe Harrison, Harry Yardley Rose. And hopefully, if she's back up to fitness again, Morgan Kidd after her trip into the barriers in the first heat yesterday. Just a quick reminder again, I've been handed some keys to a van that were found in the scrutineering bay yesterday. If you are missing some van keys, head to Race Control and I will make sure that you get them, provided, of course, that you are the actual owner. Otherwise, I might just eBay it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, do come and find them if you're missing a set of van keys, and we will get them back to you. So, Abby Pulling from the front of the grid, twice already. She has come through from third position from her initial qualifying form and taken both victories. Abby Pulling seems to be adamant. I am the champion and I'm not giving it away to anybody else. She's got a great fight on her hands, though. Lots of drivers in the field will be battling with her. But now it's time to put up or shut up as we head out onto the circuit for the first final of the Junior TKM season. Drivers getting away, Abby Pulling and Oliver Richardson, Dan Butterworth and Spencer Stevenson, and a major problem at the start for Ben Watson. His car not moving, and Zach Oates is trying to give him a little bit of support to get going, but that's a really big problem for the 94 Ben Watson, who's already got some initial difficulties, and that's really going to cause some problems off the start if he can't get the car moving. And that's a really big problem from his point of view. Abby Pulling and Oliver Richardson doing what they can, just getting themselves into position. Hopefully they've got the kart started, and it looks as though they have. So getting back into position shouldn't be too much of a difficulty, but I wonder if there's going to be too much confusion off the grid to get the race underway in full flow. Well, it looks as though they're putting themselves back into position neat and tidy. So we might be all right, actually, off the start. Either that or we'll just go around again for another rolling lap. There's a couple of guys out of position. The 94 and the 45 look like they're going to be at the back of the grid. Here we go, and we're racing, and it's a clean start. Pulling and Butterworth through into the lead, and up to third position has come Louis Harvey. Great work thus far. Number 30, Nathan Wells for the TKM Extremes needs to come to the steward's office immediately. That's the number 30, Nathan Wells. It is now urgent. TKM Extreme driver Nathan Wells, you need to report to the steward's office immediately. Thank you. So Abby Pulling, Dan Butterworth and Louis Harvey leading the way here, as there's a couple of drivers going to be charging through the field, one of which is Ben Watson, the other of which is Zach Oates, and it looks like they're going through the field together. Sly Stallone and Kit Pardew star from Driven. Really exciting as they work from the back of the field to the front in tandem. And now Oates is going to make the move on the inside of Watson. He's going to take the lead of the tussle as they get their way through the field one by one. So it looks to me as though the man in trouble is Aston Wigley, the 58. He's come into the pits and he's out of the race. That is a real problem for Aston Wigley. So the Jade Racing driver who fought beautifully to fourth place yesterday is now out of the race today by the look of it. That is a real shame. But Abby Pulling has got Dan Butterworth right in for the battle. Third position, Louis Harvey. Fourth place, Oliver Richardson. Really exciting stuff. Zach Taylor trying to defend from Spencer Stevenson, but Stevenson found a way through into P5. Then we've got the seventh place man. That's Dan McKeown, now in front of Jensen Davis, who is there in eighth place. Then Liam Hurrell, Archie Strong, Dominic Kilmister, Connor Kearney. Then it's Newsham, Yardley Rose, Zach Oates, Max Davies, Ben Watson, Joe Harrison, Will Orton and Morgan Kidd. And then, of course, we have the retirement from Aston Wigley at the end of lap 1. 10 minutes and 15 seconds plus 1 lap on the clock, and it could still go anybody's way. Pulling leading at the moment, and up to third place comes Richardson. Takes the move off of Louis Harvey. Very good overtaking move there. He'll be very happy with that one. Brilliant stuff as Pulling and Butterworth continue to control the pace. Richardson now up to third, and up to fourth place comes Spencer Stevenson. Good work in the final hairpin there from Stevenson, and he takes over the place. He'll be very happy with that one. Great racing so far from the Junior TKMs, the first final of the 2018 season, and the race is very much on. 9 minutes and 40 or so, plus 1 lap on the clock. There are long finals, these karts, and they're going to have to work very hard to get there to the top of the dais. But Pulling is there at the moment. Butterworth in second. Here comes Richardson. Richardson's going to make the move for second place, and that was a beautiful overtaking move. Also through on the 8. The 8 makes the move on the 74. The 6, that's Zach Taylor, gets past Louis Harvey, and now they're going to work together to move forward. So great starts. But Abby Pulling leads the way. Don't even think about winning this championship because it's mine and I'm keeping it. Oliver Richardson second, Butterworth third from Stevenson, Taylor, Harvey, McKeown, Hurrell, Kilmister and Davis. Then it's Connor Kearney from Newsham, Oates, Yardley Rose, Davies, Watson, Harrison, Orton, Strong and Morgan Kidd. And the 20 remaining karts from the 21 who started still battling away. A very frustrated Aston Wigley in the pits. Could be in the top 4 on pure pace. We saw it yesterday. Here comes Richardson. Dives not going to let him have it. Back on the inside, takes the place back. Brilliant work from Abby Pulling. She is the ultra defender. She could play for Man United. Up on the inside, keeping it together. Very nicely done. Over the line once more. Pulling, Richardson, Butterworth, Stevenson, Harvey, McKeown and Taylor. And then the 63 is Liam Hurrell in 8th from Kearney, Newsham, Davis, Oates, Yardley, Rose, Kilmister, Davies, Watson, Orton, Joe Harrison, Archie Strong, and it looks as though we've had a retirement from Morgan Kidd as well, so maybe things are not quite right with the cart or with her after her little tumble into the barriers yesterday. Here again comes Abby Pulling. Richardson can't get by this time, and up the inside goes Zach Taylor, makes the move there into P6, past Dan McKeown. No, sorry, McKeown's at the head of them, so it's Louis Harvey he's passed. So now it's Pulling from Richardson, Butterworth and Stevenson. The top 4 have broken clear. Very nice work between the 4 of them as well. Over into that first corner. Pulling, Richardson, Butterworth, Stevenson, McKeown, Taylor, Harvey, Hurrell, Kearney, Newsham, and then Zach Oates in 11th place. Good work for him to come back. Jensen Davis has made progress. Harry Yardley Rose has made up 7 spots so far, up to 13th. And then it's Kilmister, Davies and Watson. Watson still struggling to make as much progress as Zach Oates is. Then it's Orton, Harrison and Strong. But Pulling still leads this 4-cart quartet at the front of the field. Richardson 2nd, Butterworth 3rd, Stevenson is 4th. And there's a great little move there from the 77. Kilmister moves forward past Harry Yardley Rose. So some good overtaking in the mid-pack as well as there is towards the front end. Stevenson looking particularly hungry to make the way past Dan Butterworth. So there could be some great races. Spencer Stevenson trying to take the lead of the championship off his teammate Abby Pulling. The 2 Talco racing carts still battling away for position. No major dramas at the moment, but still Pulling in front of Richardson, Butterworth and Stevenson. Stevenson makes the move for 3rd position on Butterworth and gets the place. Beautiful bit of overtaking from Stevenson. Moves to cover the inside line, so Butterworth can't get him back, and that is there into 3rd position. Good racing. So Pulling, Richardson, Stevenson and Butterworth, the top 4 at the moment. 5th place, this is a great run from Dan McKeown, up 5 places to P5. He's having a much better day than yesterday. Taylor in 6th position. Then it's Harvey, Hurrell, Kearney and Zach Oates has broken into the top 10 for the first time since the rolling lap. And then, of course, we have out in 11th position is Ethan Newsham from Jensen Davis. And Dominic Kilmister working good progress from Ben Watson. Then Max Davies, Harry Yardley Rose, Will Orton, Joe Harrison and Archie Strong. And still these 4. Unchanged since Stevenson broke into 3rd place. Richardson could be very, very stymied by the fact that Stevenson is on the charge. And that's a great move from Dominic Kilmister on Jensen Davis in the hairpin as well. He moves up another place. That puts him into 12th. Pulling, Richardson, Stevenson, Butterworth. Good battles all the way through this field. And that's another great lunge at the final turn. That is the 31 of Will Orton making the move on Harry Yardley Rose. Great move from the Sam Jenkins Motorsport driver. Will Orton getting a good overtake there in the final turn. There was nothing Harry Yardley Rose could do to come back from that one. So a good bit of driving from Will Orton as he makes progress up into 16th place. And here comes Stevenson into 2nd place. It's Talco Racing 1-2 now. Richardson's going to have to find a way to come back at it. But Abby Pulling leads the way. 2nd position, Stevenson. 3rd is now Richardson, who's going to try again into the hairpin. Is he? No. Very well covered by Spencer Stevenson. Alan Taddyeyes one to watch this year. Spencer Stevenson, build him as the championship favourite. But then, of course, there's always Abby Pulling. If she's going to do a full campaign, she will be hard to beat in this current form. She leads again. Hasn't been out of the lead for much of this weekend. Certainly in the races, she has been the dominant force. Win in the Heat 1, win in the Heat 2, leading in the first final, but Stevenson's going for the lead and takes it. Abby Pulling does not have much to defend against that one. Spencer Stevenson launches the attack, makes the move from 4th position to 1st, but Abby Pulling is going to get there again in the hairpin in the final turn and takes the lead back again. She only lost it for 3 corners and gets the lead back. Now it's up to Stevenson to try and push away Abby Pulling from the 2 drivers behind, but that's going to be tough because Richardson and Butterworth very much the level pegging in terms of pace. But Abby Pulling is your leader. Stevenson 2nd, Richardson and Butterworth 3rd and 4th. Then it is McKeown having a great run in the Jade Racing team. Zach Taylor, Louis Harvey, Zach Oates and Connor Kearney in there as well. Rounding out the top 10 is Liam Hurrell. Stevenson tries, and hang on a minute, Pulling's down to 4th. So clearly somebody's made the move. Richardson's made the move on Stevenson. Now Pulling's made the move on Butterworth to get back into 3rd place. But this is what happened yesterday. Pulling dropped back to 4th position, and it wasn't long before she took the lead. Now Spencer Stevenson takes the lead away from Richardson. So Stevenson leads. What a shuffle. That was like picking up 4 cards, throwing them on the floor and picking them up in any random order. Brilliant racing from the 4 of them. Still covered by half a second. And there's great racing between Stevenson, Richardson, Pulling and Butterworth. That's how they started the first race yesterday, in fact, in that exact order. So it's basically as if the entire qualifying races in the 2 heats yesterday have been reset. Pulling challenging in 3rd for Richardson. Can she go for the move? Beautifully done. Abby Pulling into 2nd place. Now getting some assistance from Richardson to try and move closer to the number 12, her teammate Spencer Stevenson. So Pulling doing the best she can to work through the final hairpin. Looking good at the moment. 3 minutes and 8 plus 1 lap on the clock. Fastest in the first sector of all is actually the man in 5th place, Dan McKeown. And that's probably because he's not in the mix of a great battle for the drivers in front of him. He's trying to catch them. He has got time to do it, actually. The gap is 1.3 seconds between Dan McKeown and Dan Butterworth. It's a big order, with Pulling now in 2nd place in front of Richardson, as we knew. But is Pulling going to make the move on Spencer Stevenson into the hairpin? She's so good at this part of the circuit. She doesn't, because Stevenson moves a couple of inches across to cover her coming through. So Stevenson leading, Pulling 2nd. 3rd is Richardson. Great racing and great battling. Always drive for the victory. Never give up. Always flat out. Oh, that's a big one out of the final turn. That's 2 of them gone in. That's the 94 of Watson and Max Davies in there as well. So both of them, I'm afraid, look to be out of this one. Ben Watson and the Klassen Motorsport driver, Max Davies. Well, it looks like Davies is going to get going again. And Pulling is in the lead for all of that. Spencer Stevenson is down to 3rd. So Pulling is your leader. Richardson 2nd. Then it is Spencer Stevenson and Dan Butterworth, and I'm afraid to say the 94, Ben Watson, is out of the race. That is a real shame. Looks as though he's okay, but Ben Watson is out of the race. So Pulling is your leader, Richardson 2nd. That's given Spencer Stevenson a bit of an issue. And the 94, Ben Watson, is the one who the officials have judged for that manoeuvre to be at blame, and that's why he's the one who's been given the warning flag. That's a real shame, because that's really compromised his weekend. You now have to start towards the back of the field for the televised final later on. But this is going to be a really interesting fight to the finish here between these 4. Abby Pulling, Oliver Richardson, Spencer Stevenson and Dan Butterworth still very close. Dan McKeown has not given up on catching them. And Zach Taylor is next in 6th position from Louis Harvey. And Zach Oates. Zach Oates is in 8th. Great comeback drive from Zach Oates. He's there in 8th position, salvaging his weekend with an amazing drive up into P8. Then it's Connor Kearney in front of Liam Hurrell, Newsham and Kilmister. Then it's Will Orton having a great run, moving his way up through the field. Then it's Archie Strong ahead of Jensen Davis and Joe Harrison. And then Harry Yardley Rose and Max Davies, who is not too far away from being lapped. But Abby Pulling's got other things to worry about at the moment. Oliver Richardson in there, sliding sideways, trying to come through on Abby Pulling, who defends beautifully again. And there's yellow flags at the final turn, and that is because they are moving Ben Watson's kart, of course. So there is no overtaking at the final hairpin, which can only be for 1 more lap or so. 30 seconds, so that means we're into the penultimate lap, and it's up to Abby Pulling now to hang on to this advantage, leading the way comfortably. 0.3 of a second in front of Oliver Richardson. That means that Richardson's not going to be close enough to make the ultimate overtaking move, and the yellow flag has been withdrawn at the final hairpin, so racing can resume, and in exactly the right moment too, because Pulling is being caught by Oliver Richardson very quickly. Richardson's going to try and make the move. He's a little bit hesitant there on the brakes early to avoid going into the back of Pulling, and that's going to give Spencer Stevenson the hurry up as they come off of turn 7. They are going to be really close in the final hairpin. Is Stevenson going to make the lunge? He's not quite close enough, so they're going to go into the last lap. Pulling, Richardson, Stevenson and Butterworth. Great race in between the 4 of them, and it's going to be anybody's race. Any one of these 4 can win it. Dan McKeown still pushing hard in P5. Zach Taylor's there from Harvey, Oates, Kearney and Hurrell. I'm looking back to the back straight to see who is out in front. At the moment, it should still be Abby Pulling, and she is still there. Oliver Richardson, I should say, getting very close indeed. Stevenson's having to defend from Butterworth. Is Richardson going to find a way through Abby Pulling in the left-hander? No, he's not. So Abby Pulling into the right-hander. Looks like she's going to make it 3 wins from 3 starts, but there's still time for it to all go awry. 7, 8, and into the final corner. Richardson's too far back. It's going to be Abby Pulling who makes it 3 out of 3. The hat-trick for Abby Pulling. Terrific work. Abby Pulling wins again from Richardson. Oh, a big shunt over the line. That is the 74 of Harvey and Zach Oates coming together as they come over the line. Goodness me, we've got Zach Oates in the middle of the straight. But that's a yellow flag at the final turn. Well, goodness me, that was close. Zach Oates and Louis Harvey cross the line 7th and 8th. Harvey in 7th, Oates in 8th place. But, well, he tried his best to get through on the inside. They just banged wheels at the final turn and came across the line. Well done to the marshals for some speedy reflexes there on the start-finish line. That could have been very nasty indeed. But a really, really close battle. And Abby Pulling emerges victorious for the 3rd race in a row. The Junior TKM for Abby Pulling. Many, many people tipping her for superstardom in the world of car racing. And I genuinely believe with this kind of pace and this kind of form, she could win anywhere she chooses, be it Indianapolis, Le Mans, or even Monte Carlo. Fortunately, the big thing about British motor racing is the money. Hopefully someone's going to come through and help push her forward. But this is amazing form. And again, Abby Pulling, dominant in performance here at Larkhall. So we've got a couple of minutes now until we get into the next race of the day, which is going to be another fantastic battle. And it will be for the Junior X30 final one. And it's going to be really intense because we've seen so many great races from the Junior X30 this weekend already. And we will see some more great battles. But as you can see now, the sun has come out. And that's going to make things very, very entertaining as the circuit heats up and the battle intensifies. We'll see the Junior X30 final. It's the one of 3 finals remaining before we get to our lunch break. And then, of course, we'll have the televised finals filmed by TDI Media and will go up on the Super One channel and the TDI Media YouTube channels, of course. It'll be a really interesting battle for the 2018 season in Junior X30. It's already been an interesting campaign, and as we go into the first of our televised finals next, we have an awful lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
So a great race is promised from the Junior X30s. They always deliver fantastic action, and I don't think today is going to be any different. Yesterday in the heat we had some brilliant battles, and the Junior X30s, of course, will put on a show. When don't they? I have yet to see a dull Junior X30 race, and I think we are going to have it fever pitch here today because we've got already, having had a great heat earlier on, we now go into the first final with a very exciting grid for this next encounter, and we will see some pretty exciting stuff as the drivers run around in formation. But we need to talk through the grid for the first final. It is Lewis Gilbert, the man from Dalry, alongside Lewis Thompson on the front row of the grid. Alessandro Senonetti and Axel Laflamme are on the second row. Then it is Josh Rattigan and Nelson King. Teddy Pritchard-Williams and Matthew Hudson are on the fourth row. Dragon Pinsent and Clayton Ravenscroft are in the top 10 as well. Casper Stevenson and Sam Heading are on the sixth row from Tyler Reid and Oliver Gray, Tom Edgar and Luke Whitehead, Joseph Taylor and Caden McQueen, Reggie Dewey and Alex Lloyd. Then it is Dougie Bolger and Rufus Hunt, Oliver Behrman and Dylan Cooper, Louis Short and Sam Hawthorne, Alex Walker and Alex Lay, Theo Edgerton, Max Meir, and then Alex Moody and Shane White. 32 karts, a very exciting field, and very difficult to predict who is going to be our race winners. Still a lot to do while you're around the circuit. The kart sim is being very much entertaining over the course of the weekend in the CAF. I know obviously everybody very focused on racing, but the kart sim is still there. There is a competition through the weekend to find the fastest driver, and if you're not careful, I'll have a go in the lunch hour and I'll beat you all. No, I won't. I'm not going to be that arrogant because there's nothing to be arrogant about. Definitely not that fast. I think my theoretical best is a 57.9, and that's 2 seconds off the best. Think about it, Jake. You're talking up a pipe dream. Anyway, we'll move on to the Junior X30s. That is going to be a great battle, and we've obviously got that head-to-head contest to the first corner with Lewis Gilbert and Lewis Thompson. And it's the local boy, Lewis Gilbert from Dalry, who's been really strong this weekend. 2 wins from his first 2 heats, and he will be very, very tough to beat after what has been already a very tough weekend for the Junior X30s. Very close, very even, but after his teammate Clayton Ravenscroft has been the flavour of the month for KR Sport, Lewis Gilbert has decided, OK, well, this is Larkhall. This is my backyard. I know every inch of this circuit. Come and get this trophy off me if you think you can. And it's been an amazing weekend ever since, because Lewis has been very much on top form. But he knows that it will be tough. He's got Lewis Thompson beside him, and obviously an amazing crop of challengers to try and close him down. He will find it tough, and he is under no illusions that this race is far from over. If anything, the proper weekend starts here with this battle, especially when you've got the likes of Alessandro Serenetti, Axel Laflamme, Josh Ratigan and Nelson King giving chase. That is 4 formidable talents to be right underneath you as you make your way to the first corner. So the drivers will be heading out onto the circuit in a few seconds. As they leave the pits, we will have an amazing battle on our hands as the drivers will be waved out onto the circuit. And now we will have an electrifying battle in the Junior X30s, which is all about Lewis Gilbert hanging on to it. Can Lewis Gilbert hang on to this lead that he has held for most of the weekend, it has to be said. The pace has not quite been there with his teammate Clayton Ravenscroft, but the pace could come back at any point, especially now the track is drying and getting faster and faster as the day goes on. Now, bit of a slow start out of the pits. Is Lewis Thompson among them? Because I didn't see Lewis Thompson leave the pits. He is stuck. So Lewis Thompson on the front row of the grid, the 79, is stuck in the pits. Now he's got going, so he's going to need to cut through the chicane to catch up with the rest of the field. But Lewis Thompson is an old hand at this by now. He knows that, so he will cut through the S's and get himself back into track position. But there's only one formation lap for the drivers in these conditions. So Lewis Gilbert on his own as he waits for the grid to form up. We're going to have to go round again at this point because the 79 is in position. Well, having said that, he hasn't got anybody alongside him, but the field is still there in position. Axel Laflamme in the 47, neat and tidy in position to get himself ready for the off. And the 79 is at the back of the field, so I think that's a clean start, actually. Yes, it is. So a big disaster for Thompson, but away we go. And as Thompson gets on with it to try and charge forward through the field, Lewis Gilbert holds the lead from Serenetti and Laflamme as they get the race underway. Josh Ratigan and Nelson King are in there. Teddy Pritchard-Williams and Matthew Hudson likewise. Pinsent and Ravencroft battling away for position. They were doing so at Wilton Mill for the lead, if you remember, but now they're 4 rows back from the front end. Here's Serenetti giving chase to Lewis Gilbert already. Third position, that is the 27 of Josh Ratigan. This is his best chance yet of a victory in a final in 2018. And Ratigan, who represented Great Britain in the CIK FIA Academy at Salisbury's last week, has a great chance to get into the top step of the dais. And he knows what he's got to do to get there. Gilbert, Serenetti, Ratigan, Pritchard-Williams, Hudson, Pinson up in 6th position. What a start from Pinson. Then it's Stevenson, Heading, Reed, Laflamme all the way down in 10th place. Something's not right with Axel Laflamme today. And then it is Edgar, Gray, Whitehead, Joseph Taylor, Caden McQueen, Reggie Dewey up to 16th, Lloyd up to 17th. The Serenetti tries to get second place back from Ratigan, and he does so, leaving Gilbert in front. But Ravenscroft is all the way down in 18th at the end of the first lap. So a really tough day at the office for Clayton Ravenscroft. That is not like him at all. So difficulties today. His teammate Gilbert's having a great run. Ratigan's taken back second place from Serenetti again. Then it's Pritchard-Williams, Hudson, Pinson, Stevenson, Heading, Reed, Laflamme, Gray, Edgar, Taylor, Dewey, Whitehead, Lloyd, McQueen and Ravenscroft in front of Rufus Hunt and Alex Lay in the top 20. So absolutely incredible fortunes for some, terrible ones for others as the 32 karts are battling away for position. Dougie Bolger, Lewis Thompson, Sam Hawthorne, Alex Moody, Nelson King and Max Meir continue on the pace. So Nelson King's had an absolute nightmare as well. And he's there battling away for 30th position. A nice move up the inside from the 57. That is a good move for Sam Heading as he makes his way past Casper Stevenson. So that puts him into P7. Laflamme is 9th, having made the move on Tyler Reed. Reggie Dewey's up to 13th past Joe Taylor. So some great overtaking moves through the field. But Lewis Gilbert leads the way. Alessandro Serenetti has got back in his second place on Josh Ratigan. But they are in danger of letting Lewis Gilbert run away with this. They've got to stop battling and work to catch him. So it's Serenetti, Ratigan, Hudson, Pritchard-Williams in the battle for second position. And next up is Dragon Pinson. How has Dragon Pinson got himself up in his 6th position? Terrific racing. The Dartford karting man has been absolutely on it since the start of this race. And now Dragon Pinson getting very racy indeed. They come through in fine formation. Drivers battling hard. A gentle reminder once again to the mechanics on the pit wall, do not give hand signals. They have been outlawed since 2017. Please do not do it. Here they come again. Lewis Gilbert. Warning flag has gone out to the 52. That is Tyler Reid, I do believe. So I'm not sure what's happened there, as up the order a couple of places. That is Dragon Pinson moving up into 5th position, and up to 4th place comes Teddy Pritchard-Williams on Matthew Hudson. So the 52 is Tom Edgar, my apologies, getting the yellow flag, getting the warning flag. Drivers still going well as they battle away for position. Some great driving, some great racing. And to make, oh dear, that's gone badly. That is a collision between Bolger and into the barriers further back as well. A big shunt. That's collected 3 of them there. So that is Bolger that's gone off, and it's caused another incident further back as somebody spiraled off into the barriers. And it's a retirement for that kart in question. I can't see who that is, but I think that was Bolger, King and Max Meir involved in that one. Reggie Dewey, I think, has retired from the race somewhere. So all sorts of confusion as the yellow flags are flying. And in all of that, Serenetti has caught up to the back of Lewis Gilbert. So that race is about to get started again for the lead. So let's double check and look down at the back end of the field and see who is in jeopardy, because there's a few drivers who have had a bit of a problem. Driver out of the kart at turn 1. So a really difficult problem. A couple of drivers in jeopardy then, trying to see who it is. Well, the drivers that haven't come through are Sam Hawthorne and Reggie Dewey. So it was Sam Hawthorne who went off at turn 1 in the 51. So Sam Hawthorne going off. Yellow flag still because they're trying to remove his kart from the exit of turn 1. But Serenetti is right in behind Gilbert for the lead of the race. Then it is Rattigan, Pritchard-Williams, Pinson, Hudson, Heading, Laflamme, Reid, Stevenson, Gray, Edgar and Clayton Ravenscroft. That's more like it. He's up to 13th now. So Ravenscroft is picking them off one by one. Having a great run as he tries to make a comeback. As long as he gets into the top 10, he'll have another crack at it. And Serenetti leads. Serenetti, the English MSA champion, is leading. So the E-plate, Alessandro Serenetti, the Italian, has taken the lead here at Larkhall. Gilbert in 2nd place. 3rd is Josh Rattigan. This could be the most competitive race weekend of Junior X30 we have had this year, as Teddy Pritchard-Williams and Dragon Pinson are in the fight as well. Hudson 6th. Up to 7th comes Laflamme. Heading is 8th. Reid, Stevenson, Gray, Edgar, Ravenscroft and Alex Lloyd up to 14th place. Good comeback from him too. Alex Lloyd fighting his way back. Then it is Luke Whitehead from Joe Taylor, Rufus Hunt, Caden McQueen and Louis Short. Then Shane White rounds out the 20 from Behrman, Thompson, Cooper, Walker, Edgerton, Alex Lay, Moody, Meir, King and Bolger. But Serenetti still leading from Gilbert and Rattigan. Pritchard-Williams looking very hustling up into the 3rd corner. Final turn and he's through. Pritchard-Williams into 3rd place. Good move from the Welshman. And now he's going to lose the place straight away. He's into the 1st turn as Josh Rattigan puts his note back himself in a position. Great racing. Absolutely terrific overtaking from these guys as they continue to tussle all the way around the circuit. Great battles through the field. Up to the far side. We've got another great run here from Serenetti. Gilbert's on his tail. He needs to get on with it. Pritchard-Williams in 3rd place. Rattigan in 4th. No, Pinson in 4th. Then Rattigan. 5 drivers in the midst for this victory, and it will be tough with 5.5 plus a lap on the board in this first of the finals, and a little bit of a moment there for the 15 as he ran wide at turn 4. That is Dylan Cooper desperately trying to hang on in front of Theo Edgerton and Alex Lay, but he managed to get away with that one. So Alex Lloyd now having a good battle with Luke Whitehead for 14th place. Clayton Ravenscroft's making progress again. He's up to 11th place, so this is a good run from both of them. As they start to pick off drivers one by one, the Japanese star Dougie Bolger has gone through there, and he is running just outside the top 20 after his little incident earlier on. Hopefully he'll fight his way back in time for the 2nd final. But here's Serenetti and Gilbert at the front. 3rd position. Good run thus far from the 55 of Pritchard-Williams. Pinson is in there. Rattigan in P5. Then it is the 41 of Hudson. Laflamme, Reid, Heading, Ravenscroft now to top 10 positions again. Edgar, Stevenson, Gray, Lloyd, Whitehead, Taylor, McQueen, Hunt, White and Thompson, who has recovered back to 20th. So some great driving, but out in front it is still Serenetti from Gilbert. Alessandro Serenetti's been threatening to be in the top 3 all season here at Larkhall. He really does have a good kart and a good setup underneath him, and confidence gives you gusto. He is absolutely on it. Plenty of them for the front of this field with the top 4 breaking a clear now from Josh Ratican. Ratican needs to stay with them. 4 minutes plus a lap on the clock. That gives me about 6 to 7 laps of racing left, I think. Really intense stuff as it continues to get very exciting here around the circuit. A gentle reminder again to the people on the pit wall, please, please do not signal to your drivers as they come through. It is not legal. The stewards will be keeping an eye on it. So the top 4 still running around. Alessandro Serenetti in front of Lewis Gilbert. 3rd position. A really good run from Teddy Pritchard-Williams and Dragan Pinson. Pinson's getting closer to that battle in 3rd position as they continue to race on. Great racing. Up through the far side, the 27, Josh Ratican. Running very well indeed as they battle for position. So let's see how the runners continue on in this battle. We've got Alex Laflamme having made his way now up into P6 in front of Matthew Hudson, Tyler Reid, Clayton Ravenscroft in 9th position, and then Sam Heading in the top 10. Oliver Gray, Tom Edgar, Casper Stevenson, Alex Lloyd and Joe Taylor following in, and Pinson's now going for 3rd position. Pritchard Williams defends nicely. Good overtaking try there from Pinson, but he's not going to get through, but he might get an opportunity into the next corner. He'll dive through, does he? No, he's not going to make that chance happen yet. So it's Alessandro Serenetti, the man from Stratford in the family from Italy. But chasing down is the man from Dalry, and hoping that Lewis Gilbert can continue his completely perfect 1-0 record as he continues on there in 2nd position. Pritchard Williams, a great tussle further back actually between Alex Moody, I think that is, and he was battling away there with Max Meir, the Coles Racing driver, so still battles everywhere you look from the front to the back. But Alessandro Serenetti has got a lead now on Lewis Gilbert. Look at this, 2 minutes 15 on the clock, plus 1 lap, and he's got a lead of about half a second over Lewis Gilbert. So this is a really good start for Serenetti. Dragan Pinson 3rd and 4th, Ratican 5th from Axel Laflamme, Tyler Reid, Matthew Hudson, Clayton Ravenscroft and Sam Heading. 9th position Ravenscroft now, so he is going to be on the inside line for the 2nd final, which is not a bad place to be starting from. But the man who leads the way is the man who won the Downforce UK Award for Kart Racer of the Year in 2017, Alessandro Serenetti, the English champion from 2017, hence why he carries the E-plate. But Serenetti working very hard indeed out in front and trying to stretch out that advantage to Lewis Gilbert with some stellar lap times. The gap opens up now to 7/10 of a second with 1.5 minutes on the clock. By my money, that's 3 laps to go. So it's very close indeed. Lloyd is now trying to work his way forward on the back of Oliver Gray and Tom Edgar, trying to get his way into the top 10. Ravenscroft is now up to 8th place, so he's made up another place, and he's looking good for a 4th row start this time. Race really coming into his own. Gilbert's struggling now as Pritchard Williams and Pinson are right on his tail. I think that is Serenetti's win, all done and dusted if he keeps like this. Gilbert's got an issue trying to keep Pritchard Williams and Pinson at bay. Then in 5th is Ratican, 6th is Axel Laflamme, and he's getting closer. A big dive up the inside from Ravenscroft on Reid. He's up to 7th position. Great racing from Ravenscroft. Now he gets him back again on the exit as Reid managed to get by on the undercut. But Ravenscroft straight back through on the inside, and that's 7th place. Oh, terrific stuff. 2 to go, and this is turning into one heck of a fight. Alessandro Serenetti has got a massive lead though. Lewis Gilbert with a problem of some kind. He is keeping as far in front as he possibly can, but Pinson's now into 3rd position and trying to come past him. I think Gilbert's got some kind of difficulty with the kart because Serenetti has just checked out in front. Something has definitely not gone well with Lewis Gilbert's kart. Something has gone very wrong. He's not got the right kind of pace that he had earlier. And now Dragan Pinson's trying to come through. That is Pritchard Williams through on Ratican for P4. Ravenscroft up to 6th. How much further can Ravenscroft go in this race? Now we've got 2 laps to go, so he did have enough time to complete 1 more lap. So this is going to be an interesting finish. Serenetti's on his own. He probably will be looking back going, where is everybody? He now looks and sees them all and goes, this is great. I'm never losing this thing. Look at Ravenscroft around the outside. He's got past Ratican. What a move from Ravenscroft on the outside of the hairpin. Oh, and there's a spin. There's a spin in the middle of that pack. So somebody has dropped from that gaggle of cards for 2nd position. Now, is that Tyler Reid that's gone? Yes, it's Reid. Tyler Reid is out of the race. That is a disaster as we go into the last lap. Tyler Reid was doing such a good job, but has not been able to keep it going through that one. What a shame. Well, Alessandro Serenetti's going to come through and win the race of his life here, 5 seconds ahead of everybody else. But who's going to be second? Gilbert is still trying to hang on in front of Pinson. Around the outside comes Axel Laflamme. Next up, it is Pritchard Williams and Ravenscroft. They're all going to battle, but the winner is Alessandro Serenetti. Great victory. What a performance. And now second, look at Ravenscroft round the outside, trying to come through. And he will come through in sixth in the end because Gilbert is second, Pinson is third, Laflamme, Pritchard Williams, Ravenscroft, Radican, Heading, Hudson and Edgar. Then it's Ollie Gray from Alex Lloyd, Luke Whitehead, Caden McQueen, then Lewis Thompson from Shane White, Casper Stevenson, Joe Taylor, Rufus Hunt, Dylan Cooper, Louis Short and Theo Edgerton from Alex Walker and Oliver Behrman. In the end, we had 4 retirements from that. Tyler Reid, Nelson King, Sam Hawthorne and Reggie Dewey. But what a dramatic race. And it's won at a canter in the end by 6.6 seconds by Alessandro Serenetti. He will be absolutely buzzing after that victory. And that takes us very neatly into the Senior X30 final, which is coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. Unbelievable racing.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Well, there's a bit of sweeping up to do on the main straight as the Marshals, the Orange Army, go to work. And to be fair, they've got a lot of work to do after that one. All sorts of flotsam and jetsam around the circuit. They've worked very hard all weekend, the Orange Army, and full credit to them. They've been absolutely amazing, the Marshals around the circuit. We couldn't come racing without them. And the West of Scotland Kart Club Marshals have been absolutely fantastic right the way back to Thursday, setting everything up, making sure testing ran smoothly on Friday for everybody, working hard through yesterday. The meeting ran pretty much according to plan all the way through the day. We only lost a few minutes at various points, but made them all back again. And great work to the Marshals again today. They've been absolutely stellar. And it's absolutely wonderful, this fantastic circuit, a picturesque, beautiful green circuit here at the top of Scotland. Well, not the very top of Scotland, of course, but for everyone else in Great Britain, this is the top of the country. And an amazing race it has been so far in each of the classes. But it's wonderful to be back here for the Tuto Money Super 1 British Karting Championships here at the West of Scotland Kart Club at the Summerley Raceway here at Larkhall, Scotland, where so many incredible drivers have started their racing careers. The likes of Alan McNish, David Coulthard, Dario and Marino Franchitti, Paul and Stefan De Resta. The list goes on. And even now, we're still providing great champions like Angus Mulsdale, national champion last year, world champion Dexter Patterson at the CIK FIA OK Junior Championship last year at PF International that was held. Great to see the Scots still flying the flag beautifully. So, driver coming in there, the 51, Sam Hawthorne, after having absolutely nothing he could do about that one, spat out to the side, couldn't avoid the incident in front of him, and didn't really have much time to react to it. Not his fault at all, but that isn't going to make him feel any better, sadly. But a great effort from Sam Hawthorne, and hopefully he will be back for the final, as he was doing some great overtakes in that race, battling away towards the sharp end of the midfield. And hopefully there will be some more great racing from him if they repair the kart. So good stuff from Sam. Keep the motivation high. Keep pushing. Never, ever give up. This is British Super 1. You do not give up. So in a couple of minutes' time, we'll be leaving the field, leaving the pits for the next race in the bag. And that is going to be for the Senior X30 final. And then we'll only have 8 finals left. The Senior X30 first final. That is for Lewis Malin and Oliver Hodgson on the front of the grid, with Morgan Porter and Thomas Turner on the second row. Levi King and Sean Butcher will be on the third. From Scott Jackson and Owen Byatt, Brad Pennell and Joe Turney will be on the fifth row of the grid. Rory Hudson and Alex Wang will be next. Then it's Elliot Harvey and Derek Morgan from Ewan Wilson and Saul Robinson. Matt Armstrong and Archie Tillett. Then Paul Stewart and Jensen Brown. Brandon Manshaw and Angus Mulsdale. Josh Thompson-White and Rashid Ghanem. Henry Laws, Sky Siddle and Anna Morris. So that's going to be the battle for position. Oh, and a wave there from Reggie Dewey. At least he's still smiling, but what a shame. He had a great run in the early stages of that race. Looking good for a top 6 finish it would have been, I think, from Reggie Dewey. Making good progress, but unfortunately caught out. And in the midst of a great battle, somebody has to get spat out. And unfortunately on this occasion, it was Reggie Dewey. But still smiling and still pushing on for a good finish in the final. At least from here, you can't lose anymore. So it's just get on with it, knuckle down and push forward. And Reggie Dewey is one of those who's always good at a great comeback. But what a bad start to the season from his point of view. It has been from Reggie Dewey, the number 3. He's going to need a little bit more luck. And hopefully that can come in the final later on. Time to regroup, time to reset. And for the Senior X30s, it's time to battle once again, because we've got this amazing fight to come from Lewis Malin and Oliver Hodgson on the front row of the grid. Morgan Porter, the winner of the earlier heat, and Thomas Turner alongside him. And of course, we'll be keeping an eye on Joe Turney from the 5th row of the grid. What on earth happened to him in that previous heat? We'll have to find out later. But the drivers are about to get sent out onto the circuit as the marshals finish their clean-up job of the couple of incidents that we had in that Junior X30 race. And we will be ready for Senior X30s to go round the circuit in full throttle around this Larkhall circuit. Senior X30s have been pretty spectacular so far. The karts now leave the pits for the first of the Senior X30 finals. Great racing guaranteed. Well, that'll be Senior X30 then. Lewis Malin, Oliver Hodgson, Morgan Porter and Thomas Turner on the first 2 rows. Levi King and the Australian Sean Butcher. Then it is Scott Jackson, the leading rookie. Owen Byatt, the leading privateer. Bradley Pennell and Joe Turney rounding out the top 10 from Rory Hudson and Alex Wang. Elliot Harvey and Derek Morgan. Ewan Wilson, Saul Robinson, Matt Armstrong, Archie Tillett, Paul Stewart, Jensen Brown, Brandon Matchell, Angus Moulsdale, Joshua Thompson-White, Rashid Ghanem, Henry Laws, Sky Siddle and Anna Morris. So the drivers form up into position. Good to see that we've got the row of drivers all formed up in nice positions. So let's see how things are going to go from this formation. They are all neatly in the 2 rows and we are ready to go racing here at Larkhall. Malin and Hodgson keeping the pace very slow as they come off the turn. And now we're getting up to speed and it's going to be Morgan Porter straight through in a 2nd position off the line. Hodgson slots into 3rd place. Good start from proceedings. It looks as though everybody's through reasonably okay from the first couple of corners. Have we got somebody off there on the exit of turn 2? I thought there was a puff of dust or something. I think we're okay though. But out in front, it is Lewis Malin who takes over the lead of the race. 2nd is Morgan Porter. 3rd is Oliver Hodgson. The field charges after them. 4th place is 6th, Levi King. Then it's Thomas Turner in there, the 3. And Sean Butcher has lost the place as well. He's now down to 7th position. Who's that that's gone through? I think that's Scott Jackson. The 18 has worked his way into 6th position. Then it's Joe Turney. Then Owen Byatt. And the 10 of Brad Pennell. So it's Malin, Porter, Hodgson, King, Turner, Butcher, Jackson, Turney, Byatt, Pennell, Morgan, Rory Hudson, Alex Wang, and the fast-starting Elliot Harvey is in there in the big mix. And that's Henry Laws, the 92, again having difficulties. What has he got to do to cut himself a break? Poor Henry Laws. This is a miserable weekend at the office for Henry. And, well, what does he have to do to cut himself some slack? Racing continues on up the sharp end. Malin, Porter and Hodgson still having this terrific squabble up front. And it is quite a battle. Through they come. The 6 is still in there. A good run thus far from Levi King in P4. The battle continues on with gusto. And there's contact onto the first corner. That was Saul Robinson and Paul Stewart nudging each other through turn 1. I think they just about got away with that one. But that was so close to an accident. They just about avoided each other. And that was very interesting. So now we've got Morgan Porter with cooperation from Oliver Hodgson, close up to Malin. Turner is giving a little bit of help to the number 6 in 4th position of Levi King. But Hodgson is now being left behind as Malin is pushing onto the back of Morgan Porter. So Porter's come through, leading the race now from Malin and Hodgson. But Levi King in 4th position, so Morgan Porter leads the way from Malin. Hodgson, King, Turner, Butcher, Turney, Jackson, Pennell and Byatt. A long way to go though. 9 minutes 45 on the clock and 1 lap on top of that. So is that a change for the lead again? Yes it is. That's Malin in front of Porter once more. So swapping the lead. That is not necessarily the best tactic for Lewis Malin. He might want to work with Porter to get away, but apparently not, because now, of course, there's going to be a really intense battle as Hodgson, King and Turner are getting very close to them. And Sean Butcher, the Australian, isn't far away either. Joe Turney is next in the 23, and you don't want to give him a sniff of victory. Otherwise, he really will run away and hide with it. 8th place, Scott Jackson, then Brad Pennell, Owen Byatt, Derek Morgan, Rory Hudson, Harvey, Wilson, Tillett and Huang. Then it's Saul Robinson from Jensen Brown, Matchell, Stewart, Anna Morrison, Sky Siddle making great progress. Then Mulsdale, Thompson White, Ganem, Armstrong. And then at the back of the field, I think it's going to be Henry Laws still. So Henry Laws, I think, has pulled into the pits to retire after that disappointment. But Porter's through. Hodgson trying to come through past Lewis Malin. And now he makes the move on Malin in the final turn. He's there. Hodgson gets through, and so too. Well, what's happened to Malin? Has he gone off? Yes, indeed. Lewis Malin is in the wood chippings on the exit of the final turn. Oh, Lewis Malin's race absolutely undone, and he now joins at the back of the field. Well, was Lewis Malin pushed, or did he get run out of road? That's the big difference. We'll have to find out later. We'll have to see what the judges decide on that one. Looks to me like Morgan Porter out in front now with Hodgson charging forward. Some great racing to come, though. Porter in the lead. Hodgson second. King third from Butcher and Turney now. That is how much the moment from Lewis Malin has cost in the battle for positions. And it looks like Thomas Turner has gone somewhere. Where is the number 3 of Turner? Oh, Stewart and Robinson again! That's the second time that they have had a little bit of a wrestling match over the course there. And a bit of a moment from the 21, Archie Tillett, out of the final turn as well. But this is getting silly between those two. Robinson and Stewart have been banging wheels several times in this race, and now it's getting really tricky as Elliot Harvey makes a bolshy move on the inside there of Rory Hudson to move up into the top 10 for the first time this weekend. So he's getting on with it, Elliot Harvey, and getting a little bit more gusto, which is good. Getting some more points and moving his way forward. So not a bad run from Elliot Harvey as he tries to make up progress. But several drivers now in the war zone. Armstrong's had a bit of a moment somewhere. So too has Archie Tillett. And Lewis Malin, of course, is running around at the back in 26th position out of the 27 who started. Henry Laws has ended up retiring after his moment into the wood chippings at the final turn. But now we've got Morgan Porter in front of Oliver Hodgson and Levi King. Sean Butcher is still quite close in 4th position. Then it's Joe Turney, Brad Pennell, Owen Byatt, Derek Morgan, Scott Jackson, the leading rookie, and Elliot Harvey now in the top 10 as we mentioned. Fastest of all is Sean Butcher though, at 38.45 the last time around. He is the fastest driver in the race. So what has happened to Thomas Turner? He's now dropped to 14th position. So something happened on the run a couple of laps ago, and that's put him a long way down. Not sure what it was that dropped him so far back, but Morgan Porter in front of Hodgson, King, Butcher and Joe Turney. That's the top 5 at the moment. Still quite a long way to go. 6 minutes 15 plus a lap. So there's a long way to go in this race, and they've got to keep pushing. So Hodgson close to Morgan Porter. And what's happened, hang on, there's one less than should be coming through there by the look of things. Oh, I didn't quite count properly. I thought there was only 4 coming through rather than 5. But it is still the same order. Porter, Hodgson, King, Butcher and Turney. Brad Pennell is 6th from Owen Byatt. Scott Jackson's made the move on Derek Morgan to get up to 8th place. And here comes King making the move for Porter because Porter's down to 3rd. Hodgson's taken the lead. King is into 2nd. Porter's down to 3rd. And Butcher is right there to try and pounce for 3rd position. So Butcher's in P4. He goes for the move in the final turn. So Porter down from 1st to 4th in 1 lap. Goodness me. Hodgson now your leader from Levi King, Sean Butcher and Morgan Porter. Joe Turney still there in P5. A gentle reminder to the mechanics on the pit wall. Can you please remember not to give hand signals to your drivers out on the circuit? It is not legal. It has been outlawed for 16 months. So please do not do it. Oliver Hodgson has Levi King breathing down his neck. 3rd position, a very close battle between Sean Butcher and Morgan Porter, with Joe Turney getting the hurry up from Brad Pennell as well. Drivers continuing to charge forward. Some good racing, some good battles as they continue to push on. And there's some great racing. Oliver Hodgson, Levi King, Sean Butcher, Morgan Porter, Brad Pennell and Joe Turney now, because Pennell's got through into P5. So Owen Byatt in 7th place from Scott Jackson, Derek Morgan, Elliot Harvey in the top 10. Then it's Hudson, Huang and Turner have both got past Ewan Wilson on that lap. But there's still a very tight battle. Now here's an interesting one because Lewis Malin is now being caught by the race leaders. Now Malin was leading at one point. Oh, he's brought it into the pits. He's obviously decided he's had enough and he wants to save the kart ready for the races up in front. I was going to say that was going to cause a bit of an issue if they were coming up to lap him because Malin is not a slow driver, so he might have made it quite interesting for them to lap him, but he doesn't. He pulls off the racetrack. So who's on the charge? Well, we've got a few drivers moving through the field. Derek Morgan's made up 5 places. Anna Morris is doing a cracking job. She's made up 9 places from the grid and is up to 18th place now. Then it's Josh Thompson-White, who's made up 4. Angus Mullsdale's made up a couple of places inside the top 20, but not having the greatest of runs in Senior X30 at the moment. Hodgson and King out in front. Sean Butcher in 3rd from Morgan Porter. Then it's Brad Pennell in front of Joe Turney. Joe Turney just doesn't quite have the same pace he did have. Owen Byatt in 7th. Then it's Jackson, Morgan, Harvey, Hudson, Huang, Turner and Paul Stewart. Then it is Ewan Wilson. Saul Robinson in 16th. Then it's Jensen Brown, Anna Morris, Josh Thompson-White and Angus Mullsdale. Then it's Matchell, Ganem, Armstrong, Siddle and Archie Tillett. And those are the only drivers running because we have lost Henry Laws and Lewis Malin, who retired earlier on. So Oliver Hodgson still controls the lead of this race. He always gets it right when he needs to, Oliver Hodgson, leading the championship coming into this round. And it looks as though he'll leave with at least one final victory on the board. Although having said that, there's still a whisker under 3 minutes plus 1 lap to go. There's still a long way for this race to develop. It's opened up a little bit in the Senior X30s around the order. There's not so much of a train as there used to be, but it is all still very even. And the battle very intense for the lead as Hodgson is still being chased down by Levi King, who is not giving up. Butcher in 3rd, Morgan Porter in 4th, Brad Penland in 5th. Joe Turney doesn't seem to have the same sort of pace. He has dropped now to 6th position and is off the back of that queue. So he's got some pressure from Owen Byatt at the moment. 8th position, well, that's the leading rookie. That's Scott Jackson. So Jackson working hard. The number 5 in there as well is Derek Morgan. And Elliot Harvey in 10th position, trying to get away from the likes of Rory Hudson and Alexander Huang leading the charge behind. He has Thomas Turner and Paul Stewart behind him. But with 2 minutes plus 1 lap to go, Hodgson and Levi King doing a grand job in the lead of this race and in 2nd position. So if these two can continue to keep this pace well controlled, we will have ourselves a very interesting battle to the flag. And I don't think Levi King has pulled out the best from his kart yet. He is now starting to get him up to speed with 1.5 minutes to go. He needs to be right on the back of Oliver Hodgson as the penultimate lap begins. And we are 3 laps from the end for my money. It might even be 4 considering when they cross the line. But we will double check as they come through and keep tabs of it. We've either got 3 laps or 4 laps to go. And that's all going to be very close depending on when they cross the line and how many seconds we've got left. So the 2 plate and the 6 plate. Hodgson and King battling away big style. And still they run away round the circuit. The Senior X30 man from Grantham, Oliver Hodgson, trying to shake off the man from Seven Oaks, the number 6, Levi King. Sean Butcher, the Australian, is in there in 3rd position, still trying to chase him down. Morgan Porter in P4 from Brad Pennell. And Alexander Huang has lost a couple of places on that lap to Thomas Turner and Paul Stewart. But otherwise, it's all been as was on that last lap around. Although Archie Tillett has now made the move on Sky Siddle to move up into 24th place. But here comes the battle. The top 5 have now well and truly got clear of the rest of the field. It's not done yet, I don't think. And this time around, we're going to have 2 laps to go. So Oliver Hodgson and Levi King are going to be close. And if they start battling, we've got Butcher, Porter and Pennell all very much in contention. So 2 laps to go. And Owen Byatt looks like he's going to have a charge after Joe Turney as well. So the top 6 is not decided yet. Some good movements throughout this field as we come up towards the 2nd sector once again. Into the right-hander, square right. Hodgson with King. Not as close as he needs to be, King. He needs to really get on with this. And it's not going to be long before Butcher, Porter and Pennell decide we can't win this one. So we're just going to battle away for 3rd position. Butcher checking over his shoulder already. I think he realises they are too far behind. Levi King is too far back on Hodgson. So it's going to be the last lap this time. And Oliver Hodgson, the man from Grantham, looks like he's going to have this one all his own way. He's not had the weekend all his own way, but he's fought himself into a winning position in the first final and therefore pole position for the second final. And that's where it's going to really pay off for him as he comes through this time by. Hodgson has about 6 kart lengths over Levi King, and that's enough to win the race. Butcher is going to hang on to third position for dear life from Porter and Pennell, and Turney is very much in demand at the moment because he's got Roman Byatt and 4 other karts breathing down his neck. But at the flag, it's Oliver Hodgson. He takes the checkered flag victoriously. Win for him. King in second. Butcher just beats Porter and Pennell to the flag. And for 6th place, Turney hangs on from Byatt, Jackson, Morgan, Elliot Harvey and Rory Hudson. That's how close it was. Then we have Turner, Paul Stewart and Alex Wang, Wilson, Robinson, Jensen Brown. A great drive back from Adam Morris, up 9 places to 18th place. Then it is Josh Thompson-White from Angus Millsdale, Brandon Matchell, Matt Armstrong, Rashid Ghanem, Archie Tillett and Sky Siddle, with Lewis Malin and Henry Laws failing to finish. That's a big one for Lewis Malin from pole position. He would have expected to be right near the sharp end, but wasn't to be. And now he will have to start the final, the televised final. That is a big problem for him, and it's really going to cause a headache. Meanwhile, though, we've just got one more final before the break, before the lunch hour, and it's going to be a really interesting run as we're going to have the TKM Extremes in their final, thanks to the newbies that have joined the back of the grid, led by Samuel Johns, having won the repechage. There are 6 of them who have gone through to the first of our finals. The first one not televised, the second one televised, of course, with the TDI media crew standing by for a glorious summer's day, very nearly, here at Larkhall. The skies are looking quite clear now, actually. There's a lot of rays of sunshine, blue sky. To quote Jim Carrey, it is a beautiful day here at Larkhall. And we are going to have some great racing in the televised finals later, but just one more race before the cameras get switched on. And that is going to be the TKM Extreme first final.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
So how do we call this one? It's very, very tough to decide because we've got a lot of drivers really working hard in this one. Joe Fowler and Ross Deal going to get off the front row of the grid. Ryan Cole and Louis Bevan from the second row. Louis Bevan, a heat winner yesterday, don't forget. Lee Whittingham and Adam Sparrow will be on the third row from Sam Fowler and Joseph Reeves-Smith. Gavin Pitt and Cristiano Nardoni, and then Kyle Sproat and Matthew Taylor. Alex Rees and Max Goldsmith will be on row 7. Theo Hesketh and Zach Bowen on the 8th row. Then Josh Sheriff and Dan Butcher-Lord. Chris Whitton and Rob Wellham. Matthew Ayres and Joe Stockford. Pete Newman and Andrew Lawrence. Christian Briley and James Whittaker. John Hogan and Harry Moore. Sam Johns, Owain Rosser, Lewis Wadley, Amy Duke, Isaac Marsh and Alex Lehman. The last 6, of course, having made their way through from the repechage. So it'll be interesting to see how well they go in the full weight of competition. But the TKM Extreme final, the first of the 2 finals anyway, are going to be very hotly contested, and it's tough to know who's going to have the better run off that first turn. Joe Fowler has been in very good form all weekend. So too has Ryan Cole, directly behind him on that inside line. But you cannot underestimate Ross Deal. He's been very strong all weekend, as has Louis Bevan on the outside of the second row as well. The top 4 in particular, very, very closely matched at this point in the weekend. Not quite sure who's going to come out on top. But Lee Whittingham and Adam Sparrow on that third row of the grid will be incredibly close as well. They need to be intensifying their run to the first corner a little bit to keep themselves in the mix. But again, it's a long race in TKM Extreme in the finals, so they've got a lot of work to do, but plenty of time to do it. They just need to not phase themselves out of the battle too early. But this is where things could get very competitive. We'll be looking for a few drivers to charge their way forward. Sam Fowler from the 4th row of the grid. He'll be disappointed with that position. He'll want to move his way slightly further forward to get on terms with Joe Fowler up at the front of the field. Both of them in the same team, of course, which always really helps. Joe Stockford and Chris Whitton are not quite in the positions they would like to be in either. Both outside the top 10 and will want to charge forward. So let's see what they can do from their current positions. But there's a lot of drivers in this field, 32 of them in total to be precise. And the spectators have crowded around because the TKM Extreme is a race that everybody wants to observe. It is one of the most competitive finals in the world of karting. And as much as we talk about the world of British karting as a way for young drivers to get into Formula One, it is also a way for those over the age of 16 to experience their racing as close as it is physically possible to get to the real deal without spending hundreds of thousands of pounds doing so. And for these guys, this is their Formula One. It is incredibly tough. It is very, very close. And if you are a senior karter at the top of your game, able to mix and match it with the 16s and 17-year-olds that are out in the field, then you still have what it takes. And we do regularly get drivers in a decent position who will run very competitively throughout. So let's see how these guys in the TKM Extreme finals go. It will be a tough one, but the first of these races we'll see, as we mentioned, Joe Fowler and Ross Deal on the front row of the grid from Ryan Cole and Louis Bevan, Lee Whittingham and Adam Sparrow, Sam Fowler and Joseph Reeves-Smith, Gavin Pitt and Cristiano Nardoni, Carl Sproat and Matthew Taylor, Alex Rees and Max Goldsmith, Theo Hesketh and Zach Bowen, Josh Sheriff and Dan Butcher-Lord, Chris Whitten and Rob Wellham, Matthew Ayres and Joe Stockford, Pete Newman and Andrew Lawrence, Christian Briley and James Whittaker, John Hogan and Harry Moore, a long way back, he'll want to charge forward, and then we have Sam Johns, Owain Rosser, Lewis Wadley, Amy Duke, Isaac Marsh and Alexander Lehman. Those are the 6 that made it through from the repechage. 12 minutes on the clock, plus 1 lap. Let's get them out of the pits and let's go racing for the first time in today's action for the TKM Extreme Finals. Here they come. Joe Fowler a little bit slow out of the gantry, but at least he's there in position and the kart looking like it's on song. And there's a problem initially for the 26 of Kyle Sproat. He gets himself back underway again. That was a little bit of a heart attack moment for Carl Sproat as he thought, no, come on, get the kart started. I can't be left behind. That was a bit of a panic moment there, but he manages to get away with it. Does that make him the luckiest man in Larkhall? At the moment it does. He'll certainly feel that way. But how about this? The driver's already forming up in formation. I think that's because the drivers know that a few of them are out of position, so they're giving them the time to get back into place. And these guys will want a clean, no-nonsense battle, but some great racing. And they're certainly going to get some of that. Hopefully we won't get too much of the rough stuff. Just a gentle reminder to the mechanics on the pit wall. Once again, please do not make signals to your drivers. No matter how tempting it is, you're not allowed to do it anymore. You haven't been since last year, so please don't do it. So the drivers in formation out of the final turn. Fowler, Deal, Cole, Bevan, Whittingham, Sparrow, Fowler, Reeves-Smith, Pitt and Nardoni. And it's going to be an amazing race. Here we go, lights out and we're racing. Cracking start from the 48. Amazing move from Ryan Cole. It looks like Lee Whittingham went in with him. So an amazing start as the drivers battle their way through the first couple of corners. No major incidents in the first couple of corners. There haven't been so far, really, at the start of races here this weekend, which is really good to see. But now they're making their way up the far side of the circuit and up towards turn 5. Smoky horizon there as the engines have gone gusto. The 31 leads the way still. Joe Fowler, Ryan Cole has broken into second, and that's Lee Whittingham into third in front of the, is that the 5 of Adam Sparrow into P4? I think it is. Yes, it is. And now up into 5th position comes the 28 of Louis Bevan. So that drops Ross Deal down to P6. Not the greatest of starts from his point of view. Then it's Sam Fowler from Joseph Reeves-Smith, Alex Rees and Carl Sproat. Then it's Pitt, Taylor, Goldsmith, Nardoni, Bowen, Hesketh, Whitten up to 17th, Wellham up to 18th, Stockford is up to 19th. Then it's Dan Butcher-Lord. Now the 20 has had a bit of an incident there, as has the 4. So a couple of drivers further down the order. Now that is a bit of a tussle between Harry Moore, the 4, and Josh Sheriff, the 20. So on the far side, some great racing. Up at the lead of the race, it is still the 31 of Joe Fowler from Ryan Cole. Then it's Whittingham and Sparrow, Bevan and Deal. Fowler in 7th place. Now it's an interesting moment for the 58, who's got a problem with the transponder by the look of things. So a transponder issue then for the senior TKM, and that is the 58. So that's Matthew Ayres, who's got a problem there on the Alonso chassis, the man from Redditch. And an issue there for Josh Sheriff and Harry Moore at the start, the 20 and the 4. And they will just be racing with each other to move further up the order. Now, we've got this battle up in the front, as we now have our race leader stretching out an advantage over the rest. Joe Fowler from Ryan Cole and Lee Whittingham. Sparrow's looking very threatening behind him as they battle for 3rd position. And it looks like we're going to get a couple of positions lost out of the final turn. Ross Deal is down to 10th position. Ross Deal's having an absolute nightmare at the moment. This is not going well from his point of view. So while we've got a quiet part of the circuit, Junior X30 Joseph Taylor, can you please make your way to the steward's office? That's Junior X30 Joseph Taylor. Make your way to the steward's office, please. And then can we also have... Oh, there's an off there for the 28. My apologies. An off there for the 28 of Louis Bevan. So he's dropped down about 7, 8 places, 9 places. And there could be 10 by the time Chris Whitten comes through. Oh, Louis Bevan going backwards. Unfortunately, that's not the best start to his race. So he will have to fight his way forward from that. So it's Fowler from Cole, Whittingham, Sparrow, Sam Fowler, Joe Reeves-Smith, Carl Sproat, Alex Rees, Ross Deal, Matthew Taylor, Gavin Pitt, Max Goldsmith and Cristiano Nardoni. And can we also have the Senior X30 drivers, Saul Robinson, the 72, and Archie Tillett, the 21, to the steward's office. That's Archie Tillett and Saul Robinson for the Senior X30 to the steward's office, please. Thank you. Well, out in front, this is all perfect for the race leader, the 31 of Joe Fowler. The Jade Racing driver has got himself a little bit of breathing space between himself and Ryan Cole. Then it's Whittingham, Sparrow, Sam Fowler, Joe Reeves-Smith. Then it's Carl Sproat from Rees, Deal and Taylor. Gavin Pitt has come up to 11th. Nardoni and Whitten have both got past Max Goldsmith on that lap. Louis Bevan has come forward from Rob Wellham, Dan Butcher-Lord, Pete Newman, Zach Bowen and Christian Brierley. Now, what has happened to the 28? I think Louis Bevan has had a technical problem, and is now right down the order. I didn't see him come through, but then I don't see his name at the bottom of the timesheets either. Is he trying to work his way forward and gone further up than I thought he had? Yes, he's 15th at the moment, so Louis Bevan is trying to come back. Whoa, a bit of a moment there out of the final turn for the leader, Joe Fowler, pushing very hard. Ryan Cole second. Then it's Whittingham, Sparrow, Fowler, Sam Fowler that is, Joe Reeves-Smith, then Carl Sproat, Rees, Matthew Taylor, Ross Steele, Gavin Pitt, Cristiano Nardoni. Then it's Whitten, Goldsmith, Bevan, Wellham, Bowen, Brierley and Butcher-Lord. From Newman, Stockford, Rosser, Hesketh, Hogan, Whitaker, Sam Johns. And then it is Andrew Lawrence, Amy Duke, Lewis Wadley, Isaac Marsh, Alex Lemon, Josh Sheriff and Harry Moore. The only retirement appears to be Matthew Ayres, although I think there might actually be more to it than that. I think his transponder is not working. So, unfortunately, at this stage in the meeting, that means he will be classified as last place. So, a big problem for the 58. There's a yellow flag at turn 1. Yellow flag at turn 1. So, the number 6 has been given a warning flag, and Owain Rosser has tumbled down the order. So, I wonder if it's Owain Rosser that's had the difficulty. But the number 6 flag has come out. That's the 18 that's dropped a long way back. We have lost Owain Rosser. So Owain Rosser is down and at the back of the field. And I think that means now that Rosser, the 53, is out of the race. The yellow flags have been withdrawn, so whatever it was is now no longer an issue. But there are some dramas out of the final turn as the drivers are still battling away for position. Great racing. Fowler, Cole, Whittingham, Sparrow, the other Fowler, Reeves-Smith, Sproat, Rees, Taylor and Gavin Pitt in the top 10 from Cristiano Nardoni, Ross Deal, Chris Whitten, Max Goldsmith, Louis Bevan, Zach Bowen, Robert Wellham, Christian Brierley, Dan Butcher-Lord, and rounding out the top 20 at the moment is Pete Newman. The second place battle is looking to step up in intensity because Lee Whittingham is closing right up on our second place man, the 48 of Cole. So as those two continue to run around the circuit, Ryan Cole and Lee Whittingham starting to put pressure on each other. But for Lee Whittingham, this is a very intense moment as he wants to try and get the move on Ryan Cole. So how much more work is there to do? That's going to be the interesting question. But the battle is really, really close, and they will continue to charge forward. Oh, there's a bit of damage to the 20 after that little incident, which I'm guessing was with Harry Moore, but I can't really put my finger on it because Josh Sheriff has got damage and Harry Moore does not, but they are around the circuit together. Black and white flag has come out. Now, who is that for? That looks to be for the 27, is that? I think it is. The 27 is being given the black and white flag there. Now, that's a warning. I'm not sure what it's for, whether that's for an incident on the circuit or a track limits infringement, but that is Sam Johns, the man who won the repechage earlier on to get himself into the race in the first place. And he gets the signal and says, yep, okay, fair cop, I'll carry on, thanks. The 40 has dropped back a little bit now. That is a bit of an issue there. So the number 40 has dropped back in position. That is Isaac Marsh trying to get away from Alex Lehman. But out in front, still Joe Fowler, no major dramas or catastrophes from his point of view. Whittingham is close up to Ryan Cole, but not close enough to make the overtaking move. The top 5 are streaking away, and that is a move up the inside from Kyle Sproat. He gets the move onto... Oh, no, sorry, that's Alex Reese on the move as Kyle Sproat got back past Matthew Taylor. So a bit of a just off a position, and that's a big accident there. The 14, Whittaker, has clattered into the barriers on the edge of the pit lane. So the 14... Whittaker, I think that is. Well, no, it must be Gavin Pitt, actually, who's wearing the suit that has Whittaker's name on it. But the 14, Gavin Pitt, running off the circuit there. So a bit of a moment, unfortunately, but that was a big one. The yellow flags are there because the marshals are removing the barrier from that part of the circuit. And will obviously need to put it back into position. So the drivers continue on. Some great racing here. We knew there was always going to be at Larkhall. TKM Extreme, a great class. And on such a short circuit as this one, it was the 74 who hit the barrier, I think. That is James Whittaker. My apologies. So that's why I was getting confused, because they both end in a 4. And I thought it was the 14 of Gavin Pitt. It wasn't Pitt, it was Whittaker. So now the racing's getting underway in the top 5 because Whittingham has made the move on Ryan Cole and is in his 2nd place. Joe Fowler still leads, but Whittingham now up to 2nd. Ryan Cole in 3rd, 4th is Sparrow, 5th is the 3. That is Sam Fowler in front of Joseph Reeves-Smith. Then there is a good gap back to the 7th place car of Alex Reese and Kyle Sproat. So Sproat is still there in position in front of Taylor, Gavin Pitt, Cristiano Nardoni, and Chris Whitten has moved up into 12th place. Then it is Ross Deal all the way down in 13th. Something is not right with Ross Deal's car to go from the front row of the grid down to 13th. Doesn't look like he's had an off or anything. It just looks as though that's pure pace. Something not right with the setup then. So Joe Fowler leading the way in the 31, looking good for 2 minutes and 40 more seconds plus 1 lap. However, Lee Whittingham still in front of Ryan Cole, and Cole is trying to get him back again. Sparrow Fowler and Reeves-Smith close up. That's Sam Fowler in 5th position, the teammate to Joe Fowler. And now there's going to be a really interesting battle as the drivers come through. Still some good overtakes as the 58 battles away there with Joe Stockford. That is, that's the 51, I should say, of Rob Wellham. Battling away there with Joe Stockford. Not the best of days of the office for Rob Wellham as things have been going. But trying to make progress. Actually, I think that might be Matthew Ayres that he's battling with, but his transponder isn't working, so he's not going to be classified as a race finisher, which is going to be a real problem from his point of view. But here come the leaders. That is Joe Fowler running well. Whittingham in 2nd. 3rd is Ryan Cole. Then it's Sparrow and Fowler, Reeves-Smith, Alex Reese, Matthew Taylor, Carl Sproat and Cristiano Nardoni, Chris Whitten and Gavin Pitt, Louis Bevan and Ross Deal, then Max Goldsmith, Briley, Bowen, Butcher Lord, Newman, Wellham, then it's Joe Stockford, Sam Johns, John Hogan, James Whittaker, Andrew Lawrence, Lewis Wadley, and then we will have Amy Duke from Isaac Marsh, Alex Thaman, Josh Sheriff, Harry Moore, and Theo Hesketh, who's had an incident somewhere and dropped down the order. Now, the warning flag is going out to the 20, and that is... I was trying to remind myself who the 20 is in TKM Extreme. That is Josh Sheriff. So he's been involved potentially in a too close a battle with Harry Moore and been given a warning flag for it. So as the drivers come through, I estimate we've got 3 laps to go, including this one. And Joe Fowler still leads the way. Cole and Lee Whittingham still battling as they come back into the area for us here at the pits. Fowler is not going to lose this lead if he's got anything to say about it. But watch out for Lee Whittingham in 3rd position. But Sparrow, Reeves-Smith and the number 3 in there as well of Sam Fowler have all closed up. So it's going to be a 5-way battle for 2nd position. As Whittingham hangs on to 3rd for the moment, tightens up on Cole. Sparrow is in there. Reeves-Smith and Sam Fowler all close. So this will be a tough battle, and they know it. Penultimate lap, and that's a late lunge for position from Matthew Taylor on Alex Reese. So Matthew Taylor gets the move on Alex Reese, and that will put him up into 7th position. A good overtaking move into turn 1 there. Sized him up nicely and went for the gap. But here they come, the leaders. Joe Fowler's just cantered away in the lead. This race has never been out of reach for him. He has always controlled the pace. So this is a great performance. 2nd position, still Ryan Cole from Whittingham, Sparrow, Reeves-Smith and Sam Fowler. But now we've only got 1 lap to go. The last lap board comes out and it's time to bring it home. Joe Fowler leading it. Ryan Cole second, Whittingham, Sparrow, Reeve Smith and Fowler. Matthew Taylor having made the move on Alex Reese in 7th. Now, it looks as though Cristiano Nardoni's had a problem. Nardoni's had a problem. It's been a problem for him as he now drops down the order. He has had an off on the far side of the circuit. And Nardoni, I'm afraid to say, has dropped out of the reckoning down to the back of the field. But for Joe Fowler, it is an absolute dominant victory. The first final. And if he does another one like that in front of the cameras, everyone will be incredibly happy. Joe Fowler into the final turn. The checkered flag flies, and it's Joe Fowler who wins. Dominant victory. Second place for Ryan Cole from Lee Whittingham, Adam Sparrow, Joe Reeve Smith and Sam Fowler, Matthew Taylor and Alex Reese. Chris Whitten recovers to 9th place. Good drive from Whitten. Louis Bevan in the top 10 from Gavin Pitt and Carl Sprout. Max Goldsmith is 13th from Ross Deal, Zach Bowen, Christian Briley, Pete Newman, Dan Butcher-Lord, Rob Wellham in 19th place. And then Joe Stockford rounding out the top 20. John Hogan is next in line. Truly great race. Absolutely fantastic battle all the way to the finish there. And some great races. Behind John Hogan in 21st, we have the winner from the repechage, Sam Johns, in 22nd place. So again, making up progress. Then it is James Whittaker from Andrew Lawrence, Lewis Wadley, and the young lady from Chester, Amy Duke, in 26th position. There were quite a few drivers who ended up having incidents in that race. So in 27th position behind Amy Duke, we have a few different stragglers from different parts of the circuit. Josh Sheriff, Isaac Marsh, Harry Moore and Theo Hesketh in 30th. And then we have Alex Lehman, Cristiano Nardoni, and then our two retirees, effectively, Owain Rosser and the man who didn't have a transponder that was working, and that is Matthew Ayres. So just to remind the drivers that in 5 minutes' time, there will be a drivers' parade, which is mandatory attendance for all drivers. Suited and booted, please. So drivers' parade here at Larkhall at 1:05 on the home straight. Suited and booted. We are giving away a kit bag, so please make sure that they are on the start-finish line, as we will be giving out some prizes. And of course, we are taking photographs of the drivers on the main straight. So mandatory attendance for all drivers here in the Super 1 Series paddock, please. To the start-finish line, suited and booted. Helmets with you, if you can, please, in 5 minutes' time on the home straight. Thank you. And for the rest of us, that signals our lunch break. So we will be back in action here at Larkhall, Scotland at about 40 minutes past 1. 20-2 is the Bambino second final. And all of those races, of course, are televised. So make sure you wash your face before you put your helmet on. And enjoy the racing this afternoon. Have a fantastic afternoon wherever you may be. If you're here at the circuit, go and get some nice lunch. If you're listening via Downforce UK around the world, have a breather, come back in a short while, and we'll conclude the day's action at the West of Scotland here in the gorgeous Scottish sunshine. It is a brilliant day, and we are looking forward to the finals coming up this afternoon.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.